Joshua Lane, member of the board of directors of Dr. Ann Wigmore's Hippocrates Health Institute, Josh Lane was part of the Dr. Ann Wigmore team that brought wheatgrass, sprouts, and raw foods to a worldwide audience. And now the host of Here's to Your Health on LA Talk Live, Joshua Lane.
We're back. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of Here's to Your Health on the LA Talk Live broadcast network. I'm your host, Joshua Lane. My guest is Susan Smith-Jones. Susan Smith-Jones has been a guest on Here's to Your Health before, the author of many important books. Susan has been writing for a while, since the last century. And she is a student of Bernard Jensen, who I'm a big fan of. And today, Susan Smith, with the topic is going to be stress. Susan, welcome to Here's to Your Health.
Great to be back with you again, Josh.
I'm happy to have you on the show. And for my listening audience, you are a PhD and you taught at UCLA for quite a long time. Is that correct?
For 30 years.
And you have your master's degree in exercise physiology?
That's right.
From which school?
From UCLA. And then I also got a bachelor's there in psychology, and I got a teaching credential. But honestly, I've learned more outside of school over these decades than I ever did sitting in a classroom.
Right. And also, I guess a lot of us, you learn at the school and then you learn outside. You also, as a very young girl, you were doing marathon running at a time before that sport became so popular. Did you not compete in the LA Marathon?
Right, LA, and many triathlons. But you know, as a teenager, I was really sick. And my grandmother took me under her wings and had me live with her for 30 days and told me she could heal my body head to toe. And long story short, after 30 days, my asthma, allergies, acne, and arthritis went away. I lost lots of weight. And I was a believer, and then I worked with her for years. She was not a doctor, but she knew how to live close to the earth and how to use herbs and foods and spices and lifestyle choices to keep the body healthy. And as a result of her amazing wisdom in living close to nature, I've never taken any medication in my life, haven't had a cold or a flu in almost 30 years. So I know she's watching over me now, and I have a private practice where people come to me from around the world, or I go to them and teach them how to heal their body, to live closer to nature, and to be as vibrantly healthy and peaceful, successful, and balanced as possible.
Yes, and your new book on, well, what's your newest book? The book, this Health Bliss, is that your newest?
These latest three are my newest. We've got Walking on Air, your 30-day inside and out rejuvenation makeover. Then we've got The Joy Factor, 10 sacred practices for radiant health. Wayne Dyer wrote the foreword for that one. And then I have my full-color cookbook published by Hay House, Recipes for Health Bliss.
Yes, when before the show started, I mentioned to you that Hay House, an important publisher for a long time, but in the past 2 or 3 or 4 years, they really seem to have some important authors, and they seem really to have become dominant in the field of, progressive ideas. They really, because I pay attention to this now, and I really notice that Hay House is really, really an important publishing house. And you mentioned that you also have just come back from a tour, a speaking tour in Britain?
Yeah, I was all over the UK. I was in England, Wales, I was in Scotland and Ireland, and I did some talks in Canada and throughout the United States. And I talk about really how to be vibrantly healthy, and I talk a lot about our topic today, which is stress, what too much unmanaged stress does to the body, and my favorite stress busters.
And what is your definition of stress? What does the word stress mean exactly?
Well, stress really has more to do with your attitude than what happens in your life. Because as my grandmother taught me, it's not the people in your life or the complications or the times in which we live that cause the most stress. It's our attitude about the people, the complications, and the times in which we live. So it's important for everyone to understand that it begins with your attitude. My grandmother used to say that your attitude is your mind's paintbrush. It can color anything. So what might be stressful to you might not be stressful to me at all. Studies do show that it has to do with how much in control you feel over a situation. And stress is measured by using an EMG or an electromyograph machine on the surface of the muscles, and it will tell you how much tension is in your body. So before this half hour is over, I'll talk about all my favorite stress busters, all backed by scientific study.
And because I know that you have a very strong food and exercise component to your wellness teaching and also a cleaner environment. So for you to focus on stress, these kind of emotional components, you must really feel that this really is a significant effect. This has a significant effect on all of us.
Josh, it's so important. I mean, you can't be vibrantly healthy unless you learn how to manage stress well. And the goal is not to have no stress in your life. The goal is to learn how to live with it and make it more your friend than your foe. Because there's a way of looking at everything and knowing that there's something positive that will come out of a stressful situation. 2/3 of all doctor visits are stress-related. And
Really?
80 to 90% of all diseases have their start in the body being too stressed out. And it's even more significant for women than men. Study after study studies show that women are more affected by stress and get depression as a result more often than men. But before I tell you what all the surveys tell me in my talks worldwide, what causes people stress, I'll ask you. So I'm going to interview you right now.
Alrighty.
What causes you the most stress?
Oh, my goodness.
Putting you on the spot.
Right. Well, personal stuff, business stuff,
We all want to know.
same kind of thing. No, I don't think I want to say too much more than that, but it's, kind of,
Yeah.
the thing that affects everybody else affects me. I just kind of, it's all the same, I
That's
think.
right.
You know.
Well, it's different for everyone. For some people, it might be weather-related, like hurricanes and tornadoes and
Oh, really?
floods and earthquakes. For some people, it
Well, that's
might
stressful. Yeah, it'd be stressful.
it might be terrorism. For some people, it might be sickness. Here where we live in LA, it could be bumper-to-bumper traffic, constant noise. For everyone, it's deadlines. I'm sure you know that.
Uh-huh.
It's deadlines and commitments. But stress is also triggered by grief, worry, doubt, anger, depression. All of this causes stress in the body. And when you're under constant stress and you don't manage it well, it can lead to all types of physical problems, like heart problems, depression, weight gain, inability to sleep, loss of bone, headaches, muscle and joint pain, all kinds of chronic health conditions. And when you're under stress and you don't manage it well, there's one hormone in your body that's always going through the roof, and it's called cortisol. And when you have too much cortisol in your body that's not brought down by sleep or a good lifestyle or the right foods, and it's exacerbated by your day in, day out physical activities and challenges, too much cortisol causes bone loss, causes massive weight gain, and all kinds of problems in the body, including heart disease and arthritis, even inflammation. So it's important to keep our stress levels down. If you don't do that, you're never going to be able to experience vibrant health.
And for the listening audience on the show, what would be kind of step one? How should I start here to control my stress?
And I will just say, make sure you're aware of my website, because I have so much free information and articles and blogs about stress and every topic holistic health related. So make sure you check out SusanSmithJones.com. And every day I have a new affirmation and a new inspirational quote. But one way to reduce stress, and I've been into this for about 2 decades, it is to drink water that helps to alkalize the body and to keep the body alkalized and energized. See, all the foods that we eat, depending on the mineral composition of the food, once the foods are digested, are either acid or alkaline. Right. And you want 80% of your diet to be alkaline-forming foods and 20% to be acid-forming foods. Most people eat just the opposite. And your alkaline-forming foods are basically your fresh fruits and your vegetables. Most of the other foods you eat are acid-forming foods. And when your body is too acidic, it changes the whole pH of your blood. And when that is changed, it sets up an environment in your body conducive to disease and ill health. So it's important to keep your body more alkaline and drink the right kind of water. And I have several articles on my website about that. And because 70% of our planet is water, 70% of each cell is water, 70% of our body is water, I don't think that's any coincidence. So you want to make sure you drink ample water every day. Enough water to the body will, within hours, and especially 2 to 3 days, will give you a beautiful glow to your skin. Most people wouldn't know it, but I'm 105 years old.
And you look good for 105.
Thank you very much. And when you don't have enough water, just like you take a grape and you dry it out to make a raisin, not enough hydration in your body with good water will make your skin look older and wrinkled really quickly. So you want to make sure you drink enough water. It's always good to drink a large glass of water about 15 minutes before each meal and snack, because it's also a cheap and excellent appetite suppressant. So drink enough water, keep your body hydrated. Most of the time when you think you're hungry, you're actually dehydrated. So keep a bottle of water with you all the time.
So that sounds like a very basic idea that some people probably have heard before, some people have not heard that before, but you found that is like a very good first step for a person who is not quite sure how to start on this road?
That's right. Now, this next one can be pricey, but it's something I've done for 20 years, and I highly recommend it. And that is, you want to take infrared saunas.
Oh, yes.
The heat and I don't want to go to a spa or a gym to use the sauna, because that's where everybody sweats out their personal toxins. I'd rather have one in my home.
A good point.
I have a small infrared sauna in my home, and I've had it for 20 years. And unless I'm traveling, I'll use that. And when you take a sauna, in an infrared sauna, which is different than other saunas, as I write about it on an article on my website, it kind of heats your body from the inside out. It reduces inflammation. It helps because your skin is your body's biggest eliminative organ, so it secretes all the toxins. It lowers the cholesterol level. And if you don't like to work out, a 30-minute visit in an infrared sauna is like having a 30-minute jog. It's great for your heart, and it will make your skin all over your body look like a baby's skin. So I highly recommend it's the Thermal Life infrared sauna. It's the one I've used for 20 years, and almost everyone I know that come to me in my private practice love it. And there are many people, even though we do recommend people work out, and I'll talk about that next, some people just don't like going out to exercise. So taking a sauna is almost like getting a good jog.
And what type of sauna do you recommend again?
And I recommend an infrared sauna. You want one that's environmentally friendly. The company High Tech Health in Boulder, Colorado, create my favorite one. It's known as the best in the industry. It's called Thermal Life Infrared Sauna. And anybody watching us today or listening to us that calls them, and their telephone numbers on my website, and mentions that they saw me on your show, they will get a $500 discount.
Very nice.
Yeah, for you.
Now, Susan Smith-Jones, what are other types of saunas in case listeners hear, well, a far infrared sauna, that's great, but what are the other more common types?
Yeah, well, there's a steam sauna.
A steam sauna,
but,
right.
But you don't perspire as much in a steam sauna, and it's not as good for your skin as an infrared sauna.
Mm-hmm.
There's a regular dry sauna that's not an infrared sauna, and it's much more stifling when you go inside. It's much hotter, and you can't wear jewelry. You can't bring in, say, a little device, a CD player to listen to anything, because everything heats up so much in a dry sauna, and you can't stay in as long because it's so hot.
Right.
An infrared sauna is completely different.
I see.
Yeah.
Is that just a much newer technology?
It's a newer technology in the last 15 years, and I have an article on my website. If you go to the navigation bar under articles, it's the first one. It's the healing power of sweating and infrared saunas, and how the studies show that most people that take regular infrared saunas who train for long marathons and sweat day after day rarely get sick or even get cancer, because cancer cells can't live in such a hot environment of your body. And when you take an infrared sauna about 90 minutes before sleep at night, when your body goes from being hot inside to cooling down, it secretes more melatonin, the hormone for sleep, and you will sleep like a baby at night. So I usually take mine about 90 minutes before I go to bed at night.
I see.
Yeah.
And you really just found that just straight ahead, simple therapy that you find really gives people benefit.
So much benefit. You know, I know most of the people that come to see me in my private practice have no more sick days when they start using an infrared sauna. And the other things we're talking about today, another great stress buster is exercise. I always tell people to walk your dog every day, whether you have a dog or not, because walking and exercise, and by the way, walking is one of the most underrated of all exercise activities, lowers the level of stress in your body beautifully. So when you know you're going to have lots of stress coming up, or you're in the middle of it, or just to keep your body more stress-free, make sure you find some way to exercise every day. And walking's a great exercise. It's inexpensive. You just need the right clothing and shoes. And if it's cold where you live or snowy and it's hard to get outdoors, then get some type of equipment inside to do an aerobic workout.
Well, that sounds like, just good advice.
Yeah, good advice all around, and especially for stress, because it lowers the level in your body of that hormone, cortisol.
Now, does walking give me the same benefit as running without the downside of injury to the body?
Pretty much, yes,
Yeah.
it does. Yes, and it's always good, if possible, to not walk on cement or asphalt. If you can find a softer covering on the ground like grass, that's nice. But make sure you have good shoes, so you have good padding in your shoes. Now, another way to beat stress would be to meditate and breathe deeply every day. Studies show that when you meditate every day, and it's just turning within, focusing on the quietness of your mind, maybe you just focus on your breath. When you do that, you lower the level of cortisol in your body. It helps you feel peaceful and relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
And studies show, if you need another reason to meditate, that those people that meditate daily look 12 to 15 years younger and are physiologically younger, 12 to 15 years, than people of the same age who do not meditate. So I like to bookend my day, morning and evening, before bedtime, with quiet meditation. If I have 5 minutes, all right. If I have 30 minutes, that's even better. But you might only have 5 minutes. Lots of information on my website about that.
Well, let me have the website information again. How can you get there?
It's SusanSmithJones.com, and I'm also giving away 2 free ebooks, one on detoxifying the body. Check out my latest newsletter. This is all free. Check out my blog, and especially go to articles. And I have lots of articles about healing and health and alkaline water and raw foods and how to make your skin look younger in literally 10 years younger in 30 days. Lots of great articles you can read.
Well, that sounds good.
Yeah.
By the way, I've been to your website, and yes, you have a very good website.
Thank you.
Very good website.
Thank you. And then, of course, we've talked about water. I'm going to talk about sleep, then I'll talk about diet and supplements.
Great.
When you are stressed out during the day, Josh, your cortisol level goes up. And one of the jobs of sleep, in addition to rebuilding, repairing, and renewing your body, is to lower the level of cortisol, that you can wake up the next morning and be ready to handle the day of whatever befalls you. But most people don't get enough sleep, in which case their cortisol level doesn't come down enough. And that wreaks havoc on every system and every cell of your body. One of the most restorative ways to heal your body and to lower the body's level of stress is through ample sleep night after night after night. You need to make that non-negotiable, and especially if you want to lose weight. You'll always be swimming upstream in your attempts to lose weight if you don't get enough sleep. So how much do you need? All of the scientific studies, there have been hundreds of them, show that an adult needs between 7 and 9 hours of deep sleep at night. That's
really?
also when your body releases the human growth hormone, which, among other things, keeps you young, takes away wrinkles, gives you strength and virility and vibrant health. So you've got to make getting enough sleep non-negotiable if being healthy is your main goal in life. And it was Ralph Waldo Emerson who said, health is our greatest wealth. Pythagoras, 2,500 years ago, said, choose what is best. Habit will soon render it agreeable and easy. So we've got to get enough sleep. Most people are so used to getting too little sleep, they don't know how great they can feel if they go a few nights with getting good sleep.
Right.
Studies at Cornell University in New York say that if you get 6 hours of sleep at night, you're 23% more likely to be obese than people who get 7 to 9. If you get 4 hours of sleep at night, you're 73% more likely to be obese than those people that get 7 to 9 hours of sleep at night. And besides, you won't multitask well, you'll be depressed, you don't drive well. You're just no fun to be around when you don't get enough sleep, and it's a great gift
not your best,
you
for
can
sure.
give everybody in your life. Now, in terms of food, yes, they're foods that keep the stress level down. You want to eat foods that are highest in water content. Emphasize those. And those are what, Josh?
Fresh fruits, fresh vegetables?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And as colorful as possible. I go for organic whenever possible.
Me too.
But the foods that are highest in water content are easier to digest and don't tax our body and our digestive system, which is about 30 feet from this end to the other end. And there are 2 supplements I would never be without. And they, not only have they been proven through hundreds of scientific studies to lower the level of cortisol in your body, but they keep you vibrantly healthy and looking young. And one is called Hawaiian spirulina, and one is called Hawaiian astaxanthin. Hawaiian spirulina is the most nutrient-rich food on planet Earth. And I've been taking it. It comes from the Kona coast of Hawaii, from the famous Nutrex Hawaii company. I've been taking it for 28 years, and you know, in all of that time, I have not been sick. So not only do I take 3,000 milligrams daily, but on my website under articles, I have articles on keeping the skin healthy, and I give a variety of facial masks that I created that you can use on the face and the hands, the décolleté, or on eczema or psoriasis using the Hawaiian spirulina powder. Now, the Hawaiian astaxanthin, that's the king of the antioxidants. It helps with muscle and joint pain, heart health. It's an internal sunscreen. Studies even show, scientifically proven, that within 6 weeks your skin will look years younger. In fact, in the leading newspaper in England just recently, it said that the health secret of Gwyneth Paltrow and Heidi Klum was that they took Hawaiian astaxanthin every day, and it's spelled astaxanthin. The last 4 letters are thin, and it does help thin down the body. So those are 2 supplements that replaced about 30 to 35 bottles on my kitchen counter of nutrients, and 2 supplements I would never be without. So those are great for stress. And then another stress buster. How much more time do we have? How are we doing? We have 2 more hours.
Actually, we have 3 more minutes.
Okay.
We have another 3 minutes of this segment, Susan.
All right. So then another stress buster would be to laugh more and not take yourself and your life so seriously. When I was over in Scotland recently, I heard this old Scottish saying that angels fly because they take themselves lightly.
Well, that's gentle.
And
that's
often
good.
we're so serious about ourselves and our lives. And don't you love to be around people that make you laugh?
Yes.
Yeah, I do too. In fact, someone I'll be interviewing next, Bob Capelli, my go-to person whenever I need any info on spirulina or astaxanthin, one of the smartest people in the world I've ever met. He's a person that always keeps me laughing, and that's one of the, don't tell him I told you that, but that's one of the things I love about him. So you want to laugh more. And then one of my favorite stress busters is cultivate an attitude of gratitude, because gratitude, after all, is a great stress buster. What you focus on, you attract more of the same right back to you in your life. And my grandmother always used to say to me, my nickname is Sonny, she'd say, Sonny, remember in life that the path to peace and balance and vibrant health is always this: choose to live each day gratefully. Because when you focus more on everything in life for which you are grateful, then your mind won't be wandering on things that are bothering you and are causing you to have negative thoughts. And studies do show that the people who are more optimistic in life have lower cholesterol, less heart disease, lower diabetes, and are even more successful in life. But it's up to us to be in charge of our mind. No one can change our thoughts for us. We need to do it. So remember that saying of my grandmother's, that your attitude is your mind's paintbrush. It can color anything.
Well, Susan Smith-Jones, another great interview. I appreciate you being my guest on Here's to Your Health. We're going to take a very short break, and we'll be right back with Susan Smith-Jones after these important messages.
Hi, this is Jean Noel Bassior, inviting you to join me for my new show, The Book Beat, Monday evenings at 6:30 p.m. I'll be talking to authors about their latest book so you can find a fantastic read. But more than that, I'll be talking to experts about how you can write your own book and get it published. So tune in on Mondays at 6:30 p.m. exclusively on latalklive.com. And remember, you can catch us on iTunes Radio R&B or watch us on Ustream TV. Reality radio, handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
The 21st Annual World Congress on Anti-Aging is coming to the Venetian Hotel in Las Vegas, Nevada. Josh Lane and Dr. Hans Kugler of Here's to Your Health, in conjunction with the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine, invite you to attend the 21st Annual World Congress on Anti-Aging, December 13 through 15 at the beautiful Venetian Hotel in Las Vegas, Nevada. More than 3,500 healthcare practitioners are expected to convene for this medical education conference, where they will teach, lecture, and demonstrate. This year's conference highlights include anti-aging science, personalized aesthetic medicine and lifestyle workshops, brain health and stem cell science, and so much, much more. Register to attend or exhibit by visiting www.a4m.com. That's www.a4m.com. Or call the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine at toll-free 888-997-0112. That's toll-free 888-997-0112. Don't miss the 21st Annual World Congress on Anti-Aging, presented by the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine, proud sponsors of Here's to Your Health with Josh Lane and LA Talk Live, where it's more than just talk.
Hi, this is Starlet Quarles, and I'm inviting you to join us every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. for a new show right here on LA Talk Live, The Dialogue, Real Talk, Real People. Join us as we discuss the topics that are relevant to today's generational leaders. So don't forget to tune in to The Dialogue, Real Talk, Real People, every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. right here on latalklive.com. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio R&B, Live 365, Radio Flag, and now Stitcher Radio. Or watch and listen directly at latalklive.com. Reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
We're back. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of Here's to Your Health. And our host is Susan Smith-Jones, Ph.D. Susan Smith-Jones, take it away.
Thank you, Josh. And I'm here with a dear friend and one of the smartest people I've ever met. His name is Bob Capelli, and he is my go-to person whenever I have questions about spirulina or astaxanthin. And on today's show, we're going to focus on the healing benefits of astaxanthin, what it is, why you'll want to include it in your healthy living program, and where you can find it. So first of all, Bob, welcome.
Thank you so much, Susan.
It's great to have you with us today. And why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay. Well, first of all, I have to disagree with I'm one of the smartest people that you know, because I know a lot about spirulina and a lot about astaxanthin. But other than that, as my wife will tell you, I don't know much at all. So.
Right.
But
I'll talk to her about that.
Okay. I've been working with natural products for over 25 years. I actually developed an incredible respect for them and knowledge, minor knowledge about them when I was traveling back in my 20s. I was in developing countries in Latin America and Asia for a period of about 4 straight years. I was traveling around quite a bit. I was working here and there, but mostly just sort of backpacking around. And in these countries, people don't have the money. Now things are getting a little bit better, but this is going back like 28 years ago. They don't have the money to run to the doctor and get prescriptions every time something goes wrong. So they rely on plants mostly, plant-based medicines in order to heal themselves. So as soon as I got back to this country, I said, well, this is what I want to make a career in. And I became involved with the natural products, the natural supplements industry, and have been there ever since. And for the last, about 12 years, I've been working with a company called Nutrex Hawaii. And whereas my last job, we had many, many different products, literally thousands of different products. Now we only have 2, but they're 2 very, very good ones, very special ones. And so for me, this is a lot better place to work than my previous job, where we had too many things to even talk about and learn about.
Yes, and what I love too is I flew out a couple weeks ago and visited your company and took the tour and asked probably more questions than they wanted me to ask, and found out why these have been and always will be the 2 most important supplements I could ever take. And Josh already told me that on a future show we'll have you back and we'll focus on the spirulina.
Okay.
But today we'll just focus on the astaxanthin, because there's so much in the news about it today, especially about the difference between synthetic and natural. And many people watching and listening won't even know what it is. So why don't we start off with what is astaxanthin? And I'll first spell it. It's ASTAXANTHIN. So what is it, Bob?
Well, yeah, thank you for spelling it. It's a little bit hard when people see the X in the middle of the word to understand how to say it, but if you just change that X to a Z, it flows nicely. Astaxanthin.
That's right. And also mention what is it and how was it discovered?
Okay, so astaxanthin actually was discovered many years ago. In fact, our company uncovered very recently some research that was done way back in the 1940s and 50s over in France and Northern Africa during World War II on astaxanthin. And believe it or not, people up until recently thought that not until like the 90s were these things discovered about how astaxanthin is wonderful for eye health. But these scientists actually wrote their doctoral thesis back in late 40s on the effects of astaxanthin on the eyes and how it can be very, very preventative and possibly even curative for different eye ailments. So it's been around, it's been known about for quite a while now. Now, what happened was this research was actually, it surfaced when it was done, and then it was, World War II was so tumultuous over there, and it was kind of just forgotten, and no one even knew about it. And so really people started like investigating astaxanthin and many of its different effects like intensely, I'd say in the late 80s and early 90s. Now what it is, okay, astaxanthin is a molecule, and it can be produced in a few different ways. It can be, the way we produce it is by far the most natural. We produce it in microalgae. So we have an algae called Haematococcus pluvialis. Doesn't matter if you don't know the name, but and this algae, when it's put under conditions of intense stress, it hyperaccumulates astaxanthin. And so I can tell you, would you like to hear about how we stress it?
Yeah, we would love to.
Sure.
Yeah,
So-
hear about that.
So this is grown in Hawaii, and the way that we stress it is we do two things to it. The first thing we do is in the first few stages of growth, it's grown covered. It's not out and exposed to the intense Hawaiian sun. So in the final stage, what we do is we put it out into this intense UV exposure, and the sun's very, very intense where we are in Hawaii. Very, very little rain in the particular part of the island where we are.
The Kona Coast.
Yes,
Yeah.
the Kona Coast. So that's the first thing we do. The second thing we do to create stress is we stop feeding it. So any living
How
thing.
cruel.
I know. Any living thing, humans, animals, plants, they need nutrition to survive. So what the algae does as a survival mechanism is it hyperaccumulates astaxanthin. And it does this in just a period of about a week or so. And astaxanthin is a red substance. So you can see this green algae in just 4, 5, 6 days, it starts turning very red. And by the 6th, 7th day, it's bright, bright red because it's gotten so much astaxanthin in it. And it's doing this again to survive. Now, the amazing thing, the astaxanthin is so protective that it can protect the algae for over 40 years. This is documented with no water, no food, in intense heat or intense cold. And as soon as it's put back in favorable conditions, it goes from red back to green and starts swimming around again. It's the most protective substance that really science has found yet. It's the strongest antioxidant in nature. It's an
Given the
anti-inflammatory.
name of the king of antioxidants.
Yes, the king of antioxidants, people call it. That's true. The king of carotenoids. That's the family that it's in. And so when we take an astaxanthin capsule in our body, what it does, it's been documented to be able to get throughout the entire body. So it can get into our skin, it can get into our muscles, it gets into all our organs, our heart, it crosses into our brain and eyes, and it's providing the same level of protection to all the cells in our body that it's doing to the cells of the algae plants. So it's really a very remarkable product.
So
astaxanthin.
just like it protects the cells of the plants, it protects our body. And unlike most other antioxidants, like you just said, it has the ability to cross the blood-brain and the blood-retinal barriers and then, in essence, go throughout our entire body.
Yes.
And I did say on a previous show, because you said it's great for the skin, that in a recent publication of a newspaper in England, it said that the beauty secrets of both Gwyneth Paltrow and Heidi Klum was that they take this Hawaiian astaxanthin, which I've taken for 7 years, and you've taken it for longer than 12, haven't you?
That's true.
Yeah.
I found out about this and how strong it was as an antioxidant when I was working at this other company in the natural supplement industry. And I heard, well, it's the strongest natural antioxidant. I want that protection, so I started taking it. And then
And what did you find out that happened to you?
Yeah, this is amazing, Susan. But
Yeah.
so at that time, the research hadn't been done to show that it was very good for joint health and for muscle pain and for tendons and such. And so I play basketball. It's one of my passions. I love to play basketball, and I usually play at least once or twice a week. And I found in my late 30s and early 40s that the morning after basketball, my muscles were so sore, my knee joints were like just aching, and I was thinking to myself, geez, I mean, I'm a little heavier than I should be. I said, I don't know if I got a lot more years playing basketball. So I started taking this astaxanthin just for its antioxidant properties, and I found that it took about a month or a little bit longer,
That's
maybe
right.
6 weeks, and then all of a sudden I found out the mornings after basketball, I had no joint soreness in my knees. I had no muscle aches. I felt like I was a 20-year-old again. And now it's almost 13 years later, and I'm still taking it every day, still playing basketball with no problems whatsoever in the morning afterwards.
And Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant, watch out.
That's right.
Yeah. And also, in terms of all the benefits since the last 12 years, there have been so many scientific studies. So why don't we go through a few of them briefly to talk about all of the areas of the body. Then we'll go through how to take it and where you get it and what's the difference between synthetic and natural. So let's talk about some of the most important health benefits.
Okay, well, we touched on some of them, but for example, for eye health, okay, so since the astaxanthin can get up into the brain and then cross the blood-retinal barrier and get into our eyes, it's providing the antioxidant and also anti-inflammatory protection to these vital organs, the brain and eyes. So we've seen a few different studies. For example, we've seen that astaxanthin can help prevent UV damage to our eyes. Now, people are a lot more aware of UV damage to skin because it manifests itself as sunburn, and then your skin starts getting kind of wrinkly and old looking if you get sunburned enough over time. And so people don't know as much about the problems that UV exposure can cause to eyes, but it certainly is the cause of a lot of diseases of the eye. So if you take this astaxanthin internally, it's getting into your eyes and it's preventing this UV damage. Other things like, for example, this is hard for some people to believe, but over time, taking astaxanthin, it can actually improve your visual acuity.
That's right.
And what that means, acuity, that's the ability to see, for example, fine detail. So we've had a lot of people say that after using astaxanthin for 6 or 8 months, they actually don't need to use their reading glasses anymore.
Absolutely right. So many people tell me that.
Yeah.
Yes. And how about inflammation? Because that's the silent killer of this decade.
Well, yeah, absolutely. So inflammation is nowadays most people involved in research understand that silent inflammation in our system that we don't even know about really unless we get a C-reactive protein test. This is what's really the cause of almost every major life-threatening disease there is. This is a major cause of cancers. It's a major cause of heart disease. It's a major cause of Alzheimer's, diabetes, Parkinson's, like just down the list. Like probably, I don't know, 80% of what kills us, other than maybe having an accident or such like this, but it's caused by inflammation. So astaxanthin, we actually, on our own brand of Hawaiian astaxanthin, it's called BioAstin, we actually ran a human clinical trial, and this was done with placebo and also with some people taking the astaxanthin. We found in just 8 weeks that we could reduce this level of the silent inflammation as measured by C-reactive protein. That's the key measure for silent inflammation by 20% in just 8 weeks.
In 8 weeks, in 2 months.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. And a few months ago, I read an article in the Wall Street Journal, and I know that the author spent months researching it. I think it was called The Silent Killer. Mm-hmm. And in his article, he said, paraphrasing, that besides getting enough sleep, exercise, and a good diet, he said Hawaiian astaxanthin is the one supplement. He didn't recommend any other one. He said Hawaiian astaxanthin, BioAstin, is the one you want to take to help lower inflammation.
Yes.
So I'm curious, how many milligrams a day do you take?
I take 8, and I've been taking 8 now for, I started taking 4, and then within about a year, so I went up to 8. I've just stayed there. The real normal range is anywhere from about 4 milligrams to as much as 12. And most people can get by with 4 to 8 milligrams and have very good reactions. Some people that have serious joint problems, some athletes, and we can talk about like how it can help athletes later, but they really need about 12 milligrams. So that's anywhere from 4 to 12, and it comes in both 4 milligram and 12 milligram
And 12.
caps.
And we have bottles right here. We've got the 4 milligram with the red top, and we've got the 12 milligram here. And I actually get both of these because I take 12 milligrams a day, and on those days when I'm under tremendous stress or maybe flying back from the UK, because I know how flying even depletes your antioxidant reserves, I might take an additional 4. So I'll take, so I get both the 12 milligram and the 4 milligram. And before we go any further, why don't we just show people your book about astaxanthin and give us the website so people can learn more about these products.
The website is www.Nutrex. That's the name of our company.
Spell that.
Nutrex, and then hyphen Hawaii. Nutrex-Hawaii.com.
Good, and it's a great website, and you can read some of the scientific studies. Also, check out my website. I have many articles about the Hawaiian astaxanthin and the Hawaiian spirulina, and it's www.susansmithjones.com. And also this wonderful book here.
Yeah, well, the founder of our company was founded 30 years ago, and our first product was spirulina. We're still producing that, Hawaiian spirulina. And then astaxanthin was really our second. We had 1 or 2 other products between, but we're not doing those anymore. But now the second product we did was astaxanthin. That was about the mid-'90s, and it was registered as a dietary supplement in 1998. And the founder of our company, Dr. Gerald Suzuki, he wrote this book with me, and this is really kind of
brilliant man. He
is a brilliant man.
Yes,
that I agree with.
He is.
And he wrote the book with me. It really goes over all of the research on astaxanthin. It goes through, you asked before about dosage, what people should take. It talks about like differences between synthetic astaxanthin and natural. Just like everything you want to know about astaxanthin, sort of in a 200-page book. Gives some testimonials from happy users. And then I just want to point out that just recently a very famous doctor, Dr. William Sears, MD,
Yes.
who's really the father of attachment parenting. He's like a
Yes,
pediatrician.
I know him.
Yeah. So he really writes more about pediatrics and raising children, but he decided that he loved astaxanthin so much that he wrote a short book, and it's much condensed from ours, so it's a lot less technical. So for people that don't really want to hear all like the scientific part of it, that's a much better read, I think, for a lot of people.
And we've got here. Let's hold this up. We've got Dr. Sears' book here next to yours. How can people get copies of these books?
Well, actually, if you just email us at info@nutrex-hawaii.com, we can just send you either an electronic version, or if you really want a hard copy, we'll send one to you.
All right, so I'm going to have you repeat that again slowly.
Oh, yeah,
How
I'm
will
sorry.
they get copies?
Talking too fast. If you go to info@nutrex, Nutrex -Hawaii.com.
Yes.
And we will get you a copy of that.
Yes. Now keep in mind too, when you start taking the astaxanthin, you might feel a little different, maybe have a little more energy. How long does it take to fully saturate your body? And you also want to take it in a meal that has a little bit of fat in it. So if you're like I am and you're rushing out the door and you think, I want to take my astaxanthin, and you don't have time to eat, I'll often take a little spoonful of coconut oil, so there's a little fat that's going down with the astaxanthin. But how much time to fully saturate your body?
That's one of the most important things you can ask, and I'm glad you asked that, Susan. So this product takes a while to work, and when we compare it to, say, other anti-inflammatories, it'll work for joint health as good as like any of these other anti-inflammatories, pretty much. But a lot of those will work fast. They'll work the same day you take them. And if you look in a pharmacy and like the different things that will help with pain, aspirin can help with pain, but you know what? That can also cause ulcers over time. If you look at, say, like Tylenol and some of the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, those can help very quickly with pain too, but they can cause liver damage. If you look at like prescription drugs, like Vioxx was taken off the market because it was giving people heart attacks. Celebrex, that's still on the market, but you know what? That also causes a rise in the incidence of heart disease. So all of these anti-inflammatories in the drugstore, they work faster, but they have side effects. Now this one here will take much longer to work. It'll take at least 2 weeks and sometimes as much as 4, 6, and maybe even up to 8 weeks to work in your system. But once it works, we find study after study and consumer after consumer says it works just as well as the other products. And again, safe, natural, no side effects, no contraindications.
Exactly. And it's probably taken years and decades for you to get into the health and condition you are now. So have a little patience with it. And once you see these results, you will say, thank you, God, every day that you found this amazing supplement. And also, one more thing to keep in mind, there have been hundreds and hundreds of scientific studies. They've never found any negative side effect. However, like with some athletes, and I met that famous triathlete when I was in Hawaii, if you took too much, if you took, let's say, 60 milligrams a day, which you're not going to, you could get a little bit of that orange tinge, like on the palms of your hand or skin, like you're drinking too much carrot juice, but you're not going to take that much. And how does it help athletes? You were mentioning that earlier.
So when athletes are
Or weekend warriors, you know.
Either one, either professional athletes or weekend warriors or anybody who's like even just working real hard, this extra activity you're doing is creating a lot of oxidation in your muscles. And it's very interesting to note, in the animal world, the highest concentration of astaxanthin is found in the muscle of salmon. And that's what gives them the incredible strength and endurance to swim upstream for weeks on end. So when we take it as humans, the same thing happens. It goes throughout the whole body. A good portion of it will concentrate in the muscles, and it'll give you extra strength and endurance. It will help you recover faster from all kinds of workouts. And then, of course, if you're doing any kind of outside workout, going out in the sun, its effects on the skin will help prevent sunburn and damage to your skin from UV. So it's really helping athletes in a lot of different ways.
Yes. You know, and I mentioned on a previous show here with Josh that these two supplements, the Hawaiian astaxanthin, the BioAstin, and the Hawaiian Spirulina pacifica, have replaced about 30 to 35 bottles of supplements in my kitchen. So now I basically take these two. So, and you just mentioned the salmon. What are some food sources where you could find it?
Well, salmon is the highest concentration, but also anything pretty much red from the sea has got astaxanthin in it. So shrimp, lobster, crab, some species of trout. So if you see any pinkness or redness from a seafood, that's astaxanthin.
And how much salmon would you have to eat daily to get maybe 4 milligrams?
That's a good question. It depends on the type of salmon.
I know it's a good question. Yeah. I wrote it down. All right.
Yeah, it depends on the type of salmon. So if you're eating the farmed Atlantic salmon is usually how they call it.
Right. And you don't want to eat that.
You don't want to eat that because not only is that, it's got a synthetic source of astaxanthin in there, and it's got a very low amount. And so literally you'd have to eat pounds and pounds of it just to get the same equivalent of 1 4-milligram capsule.
Right.
If you eat the fresh, wild Alaskan sockeye salmon, for example, has the highest concentration, you can eat about a 4 to 6 ounce fillet, and you're going to get the equivalent of one of our 4-milligram, the lower dose capsules.
Right. So, now you remember, and I take 12 milligrams a day, so you don't want to eat that much salmon in a day. Now, this is so important to me, Bob. Would you talk about the difference between your natural astaxanthin, cultivated naturally in these ponds that are 50 feet wide, 150 feet long? They carry 150,000 gallons of liquid. They're unbelievable. And if you go to his website or my website, you can see all these aerial views that are amazing of this 90-acre facility. That was a long way to get into my question. What's the difference between natural and synthetic astaxanthin?
Synthetic astaxanthin is made from petrochemicals, from the same oil that you put in the crankcase of your car. It's synthesized, and guess what? It has the same chemical formula, but the structure of the molecule is shaped differently. It is not esterified like natural, so it doesn't have fatty acids attached to the ends of the molecule, and also doesn't have supporting carotenoids. The natural has a little bit of beta-carotene, a little bit of lutein, and a little bit of canthaxanthin.
Yes.
So it's a carotenoid cocktail. And so the synthetic has serious safety concerns and that have not been tested out over time. but it's starting to enter the market illegally from over in Asia. People are selling it as natural. So know your source. Look for Hawaiian astaxanthin. It's safe, it's proven, it's been clinically validated, and it's the one that works for sure.
Definitely, because you can improve on nature, and
You
yours
can
is
improve on Mother Nature.
completely natural.
Yes.
And when I go sometimes to health food stores and I'll look at the different astaxanthin products, and then I'll see other products that have just a smidgen of astaxanthin in it. Don't you think it's so much better to take the true natural source that's pure astaxanthin?
Yes, absolutely. And some say multivitamins, they'll put in just 1 milligram or half a milligram. And that's not bad. If it's natural, that's not bad. So that'll help you, but it's not going to have any therapeutic benefits. It's going to maybe just help a little bit as an antioxidant because it's so powerful, but it's not going to help your joints. It's not going to help your eyes. It's not going to have really a serious benefit for your body.
All right. So tell me how, I'm sure everyone watching and listening is so excited about the Hawaiian astaxanthin. How can people get it?
The best place is the website, Nutrex, Nutrex Hawaii.com. If you sign up for our e-newsletter, you can get some specials, and I think you have a promotion code, don't you, that you can use?
I do. I mean, and who doesn't want a discount? I love discounts. You can get a 25% discount if you use the code VITALITY. So spell VITALITY.
Oh, can I do that?
Oh,
Let's see.
boy.
VITALITY.
Yeah. So you can go to Nutrex-Hawaii.com and you can order online, or you can call them, or you can go to my website, SusanSmithJones.com. You'll find lots of articles about astaxanthin and also Hawaiian spirulina and how that benefits the body, and how you can even make facial masks using the powder to make your skin look beautiful. So we have about 20 seconds left. Anything else you want to say?
All I can say is, Susan, thank you, because you are you're the type of person you will only talk about a product you believe in and you use, and you've been a great advocate for our products for a long time, and thank you so much and all that you do for our company.
You are
Appreciate
welcome,
it.
Bob. Thank you so much for being here with me today.
My pleasure.
And all of you, I encourage you to check out Nutrex-Hawaii.com and gift yourself the gift of health with Hawaiian astaxanthin. And thank you for listening and watching. And we are now going to take a short break for some commercials, and then we'll be right back with Josh Lane. Thank you.
Hey everyone, this is Richard Carr, Business Relations Manager for LA Talk Live. Did you know social media produces almost double the marketing leads of trade shows, telemarketing, direct mail, or even pay-per-click ads? And that about 46% of all online users count on social media when making that ever-important purchase decision. Hey, if you feel lost when it comes to social media, Top Tier Media can help you. Top Tier Media specializes in social media management and blogger outreach for beauty, fashion, health, and lifestyle brands. To learn more, go to www.toptiermedia.com. That's www.toptiermedia.com. Top Tier Media, the official social media marketing company of LA Talk Live and the Talk Live Broadcast Network. The 21st Annual World Congress on Anti-Aging is coming to the Venetian Hotel in Las Vegas, Nevada. Josh Lane and Dr. Hans Kugler of Here's to Your Health, in conjunction with the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine, invite you to attend the 21st Annual World Congress on Anti-Aging, December 13 through 15 at the beautiful Venetian Hotel in Las Vegas, Nevada. More than 3,500 healthcare practitioners are expected to convene for this medical education conference, where they will teach, lecture, and demonstrate. This year's conference highlights include anti-aging science, personalized aesthetic medicine and lifestyle workshops, brain health and stem cell science, and so much, much more. Register to attend or exhibit by visiting www.a4m.com. That's www.a4m.com. Or call the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine at toll-free 888-997-0112. That's toll-free 888-997-0112. Don't miss the 21st Annual World Congress on Anti-Aging, presented by the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine, proud sponsors of Here's to Your Health with Josh Lane and LA Talk Live, where it's more than just talk.
Hey everybody, it's your man Sabir Bay back on your airwaves, inviting you to join us every Tuesday, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the Sabir Bay Show, discussing history, law, and hip-hop. Every Tuesday, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, the Sabir Bay Show, exclusively on LATalkLive.com. You also can catch us on iTunes Radio and R&B, Live 365, Radio Flag, and now Stitcher Radio. Or watch us and listen directly at LATalkLive.com. Reality radio, handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Joshua Lane, member of the board of directors of Dr. Ann Wigmore's Hippocrates Health Institute, Josh Lane was part of the Dr. Ann Wigmore team that brought wheatgrass, sprouts, and raw foods to a worldwide audience. And now the host of Here's to Your Health on LA Talk Live, Joshua Lane.
We're back. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of Here's to Your Health on the LA Talk Live broadcast network. I'm your host, Joshua Lane. My guest is David King, who is working with the Seed Library of Los Angeles to promote the value of non-GMO seeds and the use of heirloom seeds. It's a topic that has received some decent press in the past 4 or 5 years, but it's an important subject, and Dave has been working with it for a long time. I'd like to welcome Dave back to the program. David King, hello.
Thank you, Joshua.
So, for my guests who are listening to your program, to your discussion, tell us, what is an heirloom seed?
Well, we're actually dealing in more than just heirloom seeds. Heirloom seeds are a big part of it, but they are a small section of a group of seeds called open pollinated.
Open pollinated.
Which by which we mean to say seeds that are that are stable in their genetic makeup. And so, if I grow a seed of the tomato this year, and I harvest the seeds from the tomatoes of that plant, I will get very much the same thing next year from that. Whereas if I purchase a hybrid seed and I save seeds from that, I plant that out, I can end up with anything. I don't know what I'm going to end up with.
Oh, I see.
So heirlooms are the open pollinated seeds, and we usually say that they are from before 1950. And the key to being an heirloom seed is that it has a story. For instance, if we talk about Radiator Charlie's mortgage lifter, we can tell the story about a mechanic named Charlie, who was called Radiator Charlie, who bred this tomato that was so good, he sold the plants and paid off his mortgage.
Oh, no kidding.
This is from the 1930s. And the story itself, that's a really short version of the story, but it's a very good story. And so we know when we're eating that tomato, we know of Radiator Charlie, and we know the story. And that's what makes an heirloom an heirloom.
So it's seeds that people ate, used as food before 1950. That's kind of the official cutoff date you have?
Well, there's a lot of discussion on the official cutoff date.
Right.
I've actually decided in just a couple weeks ago that I wanted to make the cutoff date in 1952 so that I could be an heirloom.
Oh, I got you. Okay, very good.
So 2 years isn't going to make a big difference, right?
Not too much of a difference. And so we're talking about common plants, nothing esoteric. We're talking about tomatoes and peaches and apples.
Food.
And why do I want to use these heirloom seeds and non-GMO seeds and open-pollinated seeds? Why do I want to?
Okay, how much? We have 2 or 3 hours on the show, right? I can talk.
Well, we do have 27 minutes, so let's try to give me something I can really
Surely. I know.
use.
I know. Let me just say that, first of all, we are very much interested in non-GMO seeds because we don't feel the GMO process has been sufficiently researched. We do not feel that there's enough data that says this is safe. In fact, we feel that there's probably data that's going to show that it's not safe to humans. And certainly we have documented proof it is not safe for the environment. So if we have to feed the world, and we do have to feed the world, the only way you can feed the world is by having plants and growing plants in such a way it does not negatively impact the growing area. So we are definitely opposed to GMO seeds. We're also opposed to hybrids because hybrids can be owned by corporations. And a hybrid that is owned by a corporation, it will not necessarily be around when you need it. Whereas if you have an open-pollinated seed, you grow it year after year in your location. It adapts to your location. It adapts to your climate. It adapts to your water. It adapts to your soils. And here in Southern California especially, we have different climate, different water, and different soils from the rest of the United States.
Right. We're very lucky here in California.
We are very blessed. However, our soils do present some challenges. You know, our natural California plants, native California plants, do not use nitrogen. And so we're always short of nitrogen. But here in Southern California, yeah. But here in Southern California, we have fantastic soils. This was the agricultural center of California in the beginning of the state of California.
Yes. We grew oranges here. That was what? In the early part of the 20th century?
Yes, we had oranges. We had vineyards. The area where I garden over in the Mar Vista area of Los Angeles once was the lima bean capital of the United States.
Oh, really?
I have a picture of Venice High School in a field of lima beans.
Wow.
So, yeah, right, it's a big difference today. But the soils are fantastic, and we can grow a lot of different things. However, one of the main things that we feel is important is that we have to preserve the genetic diversity that is found in these heirloom and open-pollinated plants that we don't have today. I have a chart here from the National Geographic.
Right.
At the top, we see the plenitude.
Actually, can we pick that up at all on that?
Yeah,
oh,
we've
very
got
good.
that.
Oh, thank you
Yeah.
very much. Oh, good.
We've got the plenitude of crops that were being grown in the early 1900s, about the time my grandfather was farming. At the bottom, we see what is left of these varieties commercially in 1983, about the time I started gardening as an adult. And let me just give you some of the figures, which I don't know if you can see on the camera, but let me just take the first column, the second column over here, which is cabbages. Sure. In 1903, 544 cabbages. You come down here, and it's only 28 today.
So David, in other words, say in the early part of the century, you're saying more than 500 varieties.
Yes, 544 varieties.
And now how many varieties?
28. You can see visually on this representation, the loss of biodiversity is enormous. The problem with that is, up here, people save their own seeds, and also there were small seed houses in local neighborhoods. So, as a consequence, there was a lot of varieties that were adapted to individual sections of the country. Nowadays, with all the corporations being bought up, and now we only have multinational corporations selling seed for the most part, they reduce the number of seeds available because they don't want to compete against themselves. They want to make it cheap for themselves, so they only offer 3 or 4 varieties.
Right.
Right. And they're telling us that a seed, a cabbage that does really well in Maine will also do really good in Southern California, will really do good in Seattle, will do really good in Jacksonville, Florida. This is not true. Gardening is local, just as gardening is an extremely localized activity. So what we're saying is we need 544 different varieties of cabbages so we can grow them all over the United States to their own specific location.
And also, this is, of course, an individual sense, but you also feel that the heirloom seeds, etc., the open-pollinated seeds, give you a better tasting vegetable or fruit, do they not?
That's correct. Well, the reason for that, though, is very simple. The seeds that are bred today, that are being sold today to farmers,
right,
primarily, and then the leftovers are sent to the home gardeners, are bred to be grown with a high amount of inputs, like fertilizer and pesticides. They're also grown to be shipped a long distance. None of them are grown for taste. The old ones were grown for taste. If you didn't like the damn cabbage, you threw it out. Right? You didn't grow it again.
That's right.
And so those were all about taste and all about a local sense of, like, I had this cabbage that was grown in my yard. My grandfather grew that cabbage. His grandfather grew that cabbage, and that sort of thing. So there was a lineage where the seeds were passed from one generation to the next generation, just like the DNA in your body.
All right, that seems fair to me.
Good.
That seems fair to me. And at this point, what prompted you to begin to be interested in this topic in say, the 70s or the early 80s?
Well, I grew up, I actually remember my grandfather saving seeds. The only one I really remember him saving were the tomato seeds because they were laid out on newsprint, to dry. And so when we planted tomato seeds, they always had a little bit of newsprint attached to them. I was amazed when I began to buy seeds that tomatoes didn't come with newsprint attached to the seed. So I've always been doing something like this. But I really began to see it in the 1980s when people started talking heirlooms, and I've got very interested in it at that time. Then, as time wore on through the 90s and the 2000s, began to see an erosion of varieties just in my own catalogs that I was getting in the mail from the seed companies. And then in the 2000s began to get very alarmed at the amount of genetically modified organisms that were being put into our food supply, and knowing that these organisms, these plants, compromise the old varieties, especially when they're wind-pollinated, like corn and beets. So in 2010, we changed presidents, and I thought, well, we'll have more regulation on GMOs, and that did not happen. In fact, they were being approved at even a more alarming rate. And with that concern, I said, we've got to do something. What can I do? I'm a gardener. I can do this. I can save seeds. And if I bind together with other people in a community, and that's a key word here, community, to save the seeds, we can save a lot of seed. We can save a lot of varieties. And so in 2010, December of 2010, we launched the Seed Library of Los Angeles.
And so tell me about that library. So how many people attend your events? You have a 5 or 6 day event coming up in a couple of months, don't you?
Yes, I do.
What event is that?
That's going to be a seed school offered here in Los Angeles. It's offered through Native Seed Search out of Tucson. And in February of this coming year, in February, I believe it's 8th through the 12th, we're going to have Seed School in Los Angeles, taught by the same instructors at Seed School in Tucson. We're going to bring them here. We're going to have this very intense seed school that will offer a lot more than just information on how to grow seeds or how to save seeds. It's going to be very much in depth, talking about ensuring the integrity of the seed and also saving the seed, how to save it, that sort of thing, plus ways to formulate businesses around seeds. And in my case, I've stuck with the nonprofit model because, after all, I've never made a profit in my life. So why not I stick with nonprofit? That's what I'm good at, right?
Nonprofit probably works.
Yes, right.
Probably works.
So we do that. And right now we have about, I would say every meeting is attended by about 40 to 70 people.
That's a good turnout.
That's an excellent turnout. And we have over 700 members. From 2010, December of 2010 to now, 700 members. Of course, our membership is only $10 for a lifetime, so it's not like we're going to get rich on that. But the idea is that everybody should have access to good, clean food. And we think that the seeds are essential to good, clean food. Everything you've eaten today has come from a seed in some form or another. Even if you had milk for breakfast, those cows ate grass or whatever they ate to produce the milk.
And so you would say that, just speaking broadly, before, say, 1950 or 1952, that most farmers actually saved seeds from year to year, because that would save them a lot of money, wouldn't it?
Yes, it certainly did. But also, in fact, up through, I think, the 30s is when corn began to be introduced on wholesale for farmers as a hybrid. But still, even then, farmers would grow a certain significant portion of their seeds for themselves. And primarily, of course, we're not concerned with grains so much as we're concerned with vegetables and fruits. So farmers have typically saved that. If the farmer himself did not save it, his neighbor saved it, or perhaps a relative saved it. So there was always somebody in the family or in the community that was involved in seed saving of some kind. That unfortunately just became abandoned pretty much by the 1950s. Although
because it seemed old-fashioned?
It seemed old-fashioned,
It seemed old-fashioned,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. And also, seed saving can be a bit of a pain. I mean, I'm not going to mince words.
Oh, yeah, sure.
It's another task you got to do. And if you're trying to feed a family, and a large family in many cases, right, you had a lot of things on your plate, literally. And so seed saving, when somebody came along and said, oh, look, we'll save the seeds for you, it seemed like a good opportunity. When I grew up in this little town in Kansas, we had a local seed house. Sabetha Seed House sold seeds to southeast Nebraska and northeast Kansas. And so that was taken care of almost like by the neighbor, right? But then that got bought out by a national corporation. And then slowly but surely the national corporations began to get bought out by the international corporations. Today, the company that invented genetically modification, Monsanto, owns the largest seed business in North America.
I see.
And we think that's an alarming situation to see so much of our food concentrated in the hands of a very few people. You've got to eat. And I just don't think that that's advisable, especially considering their track record. You know, Monsanto brought us DDT, Agent Orange, and PCBs, and they told us every single one of those was safe. So I don't think their track record makes them trustworthy enough to hold my food.
Well, their track record really, in retrospect, has been somewhat of a problem.
Yes, I think so.
It's been somewhat of a problem. Now, let me ask you this question. For those viewers listening to the show and they think, well, how do I save tomato seeds? So, David, how do I save tomato seeds?
Well, it's very easy. You have a tomato that's good.
Right.
You've established that. So you leave one of the tomatoes on the plant for perhaps a little bit longer than it's good to eat. It gets a little bit overripe. Then take that off. If you assume that the bottom end is the South Pole and where it was attached to the plant was the North Pole, I want you to cut it in half across the equator. You squeeze those seeds out, and out comes this jelly-like substance in the center of the tomato,
Right.
the cavity. Get all that into a bowl, and you might have to add a little bit of water to make it kind of a slurry. Put it someplace where you can't smell it, and leave it for 3 days, or 2-3 days, depends on the temperature.
I leave all the gel
Yes,
and goop
everything.
in for 3 days.
For
okay.
3 days.
All right, fine. Yeah.
And it'll begin to form a scum on top. And when
Yeah.
that has happened, the magic of nature has done its work, and the seeds now can be saved. So you dump them out and you wash them off really good, get rid of all the garbage that's on there, the tomato parts, and then dry them. When they're thoroughly dried, you can put them into a jar.
And I dry them just with a towel or something, or what?
Yeah, just knock them out onto a paper towel or a coffee filter and leave them there for a couple of days. They'll dry out completely. Then you can put them into a clean glass jar or just a paper envelope and store them in someplace cool and dry.
A glass jar with a top.
A glass jar with a top is fine for tomato seeds. And also make sure you label them so you know which ones they are.
And on the tomatoes, so I don't have to do anything besides dry them and put them in a glass jar
Right.
with a top on it.
Right.
And they don't require any kind of air, too much air inside.
No. Although, they are transpirating, which is a good point. I'm glad you brought that up. Larger seeds like beans, right, it's difficult to keep them in jars because they are so large. They do transpire somewhat, and you can harm the beans for any long-term storage in a sealed glass jar. If you do want to put them in a glass jar, just make sure there's lots of room, extra room in there.
And so if I take one tomato that I left on the vine for a long time
Yeah.
and take all the seeds out of it, I'm assuming from that one tomato, I can have a pretty large garden full of tomato plants next year.
That's true. It depends actually on the tomato, right? Because some tomatoes are smaller and larger, and some tomatoes have more seed than others. I am saving a seed of a tomato called the Burbank Slicer. And out of my entire tomato harvest this year, I saved only seeds from 5 of the tomatoes. And I have a very large supply of tomato seed from 5 tomatoes. I'm planning on, because I want to build up the populations and I want to put this into our library, I'm going to start a bunch of plants, maybe 100 plants in February of next year. And I'm going to give them out to people and on the promise that they will bring me back the seeds from the largest tomato.
Wow, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, and it is. And you know what's more, on this situation, this is another one of those heirlooms. It was brought into the trade by Luther Burbank, one of our premier American plant breeders. And over time, the tomato kept getting smaller and
I
smaller.
think they named a city for him, didn't they, in California?
Actually, it's named for his cousin.
Yeah, Pasadena. Was that the
Yeah,
city?
right. Yeah. No, but the tomato was somehow, for some reason, people were choosing the smaller tomatoes, and so the tomato got smaller over time. And what we're trying to do is bring it back up to its larger size. Makes it sense to be called the Burbank Slicer rather than the Burbank Cherry. So we're going for a Burbank Slicer about yay big, and that's what we're looking for, and that's what I want to bring it back to.
So as a home gardener, I can get a really good tasting vegetable or fruit to grow in my garden, and I can save a lot of money without listening to your advice.
That's correct. You can save a lot of money. It'll take you a little bit more time, a little bit more effort. But, one, you are not only going to save yourself some money. More than that, you're going to acquaint yourself with the rhythm of a garden. like nobody has done before in our time because, well, not nobody, but you understand what I'm trying to say. I have gardened practically my whole life, and I did not realize what I was missing in gardening until I started saving seeds. Because you leave the plant to go to flower, you leave the plant to go to seed, and it's in there and it goes through all these stages of life, and it truly is. And furthermore, when you do that, you get a lot more insects, beneficial insects in your garden. You have a lot more honeybees, that sort of thing. And it is a magical way of gardening. And so when I say you get more in tune with the rhythm of the garden, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
I was gardening up in Ventura,
Yeah?
which is just, a great climate
Yes.
and great soil. And I was building up the soil for like about 3 years. And a friend was visiting, and I turned over a spade of soil, and there was so much little insect life running through the soil that my friend thought, oh, there's something wrong there. And I said, no, this is good. This just shows that the soil is healthy. You want to have all that traffic. You don't realize it, but there's all this traffic in the soil when the soil is healthy. And when the soil is sterile and there's no movement, then already the soil is not healthy.
Yes, and that's one of the big problems of using so many chemicals to farm our farmland. Not only do you kill the soil by getting rid of all this biota that you can see, but there's plenty of biota you don't see in terms of fungus and bacteria. And so the soil becomes lifeless, and then you have to put chemicals into it to make it grow anything. But in the meantime, then you're washing the soil away because it has nothing to hold it in place.
Right.
And there's spots in Iowa where the soil level is down 16 feet. Right, 16 feet of topsoil has been washed down into the Caribbean
because of generations of poor farming practices.
Yes, exactly so. And furthermore, so I was just on my way over here. I was hearing somebody yelling about climate change and food and that sort of thing. And I will tell you this: that if we are to be challenged with climate change, and it looks as though we are. Right. Then we're going to have to take a little bit of our food into our own hands somehow, some way. The average item on your grocery shelf in the typical market has traveled 2,400 miles to reach you. Mm-hmm. That is a horrible ecological footprint.
True.
It took all the diesel fuel for the farmer to grow that food. It took all the diesel fuel or all the oil to create the pesticides and the insecticides and the fertilizers, which are all wartime industries, right? Mm-hmm. So we've declared war on the soil. And then you bring that...
Good point. Yeah.
Yes. You bring 2,400 miles to put it on the shelf, right? And then you take it home and refrigerate it. So there's this huge ecological footprint that is associated with every calorie you're eating. And it probably costs a lot more calories for that food to get to you than it did for you than you got by consuming that food. So I think it's very important. And of course, there's space in most of the cities today where we can grow food in the cities, and we can make it 40 feet instead of 2,400 feet instead of 2,400 miles.
Right. Those city gardens. I mean, a lot of people like to dismiss those as being very effete, but I believe they're mistaken. I think city dwellers happy to have a little small garden, grow some stuff. Save some money. It's also fun.
It's healthy.
It seems like a very nice idea. It does not seem like a foolish idea. It seems like just kind of a smart idea.
Exactly. It's very healthy to do that, and it's very healthy for us to take interest in our food to the point where we are contributing to our own food. We're instead of being a nation of consumers, we could be a nation of producers, right? That's true wealth, and that's also a good hedge against any kind of disaster in the market or disaster ecologically. So I think that everyone stands to gain if they would take a little bit of their time, a little bit of their space, and make a food garden. You can grow food for less water than it takes to grow a lawn. And certainly we do have to conserve water here, too. So I think that's very important. In fact, I've been a part of a project out in San Fernando Valley trying to get people to put in vegetable gardens in their front yard instead of the lawn, or perhaps California natives. Whichever way, at least we could.
And cities will allow that, or cities will fight you on that now?
Well, they're getting to allow it. In fact, Los Angeles City Council is really proven to be a very big supporter of home agriculture, home horticulture. They've approved the parking strip change recently.
Yes, I heard that on, I think, PBS.
Yes. And also, we have a motion before the City Council right now to declare Los Angeles a GMO-free zone. So you can't grow GMO plants here. You can't plant GMO seed here. And that...
Think that'll pass?
Yes, because after all, they voted in favor. They signed off on a proclamation supporting Prop 37 last year that labeled
Right.
GMOs. And they've also done some other things to help the survival of bees. They have been interested in community gardening and that sort of thing. So I think that they will be willing to take that step and protect our community gardens so that we can save our seeds and have a reasonable expectation that they are GMO-free.
Well, that seems like very good work. When you work with, say, high school students,
Yes?
and let's say the high school students have no particular axe to grind and don't really, know that much about food, but they eat burgers and they're happy to eat burgers. When they grow their own tomatoes or cantaloupe or whatever they're growing, and they eat them, are they just shocked how much better the food tastes? Are they? Because let's say you approach them and you tell them, "Oh, this tastes better," and they think, we don't think so. But when they grow it, they think, "Oh my goodness, that fellow was right. The food tastes better."
Well, I think you get something similar to that, in that if you're dealing with a student and you say, "Here's some broccoli. Try this broccoli," you're going to get, nah, ain't
Right.
trying no broccoli.
Right.
But if he grows the broccoli and you say, "Here, you grew this broccoli. Let's have a bite together."
Yeah.
He'll eat it, right? And in some cases,
It turns out to be fun. They're surprised. It turns out to be fun to grow
yes.
stuff. Yeah.
Well, I love the people that come out at the beginning of the term, right? And they were in their white tennies. And anyway, get in the garden, right? And 2 months later, they're coming back out of the garden. They've got a radish, right? They're
Right.
doing the Statue of Liberty pose
Right.
with the radish, right? And you grew the radish, and he's so proud of the radish. He says, "Go now and eat it." I eat it, and you get them to eat it. And it's like, oh, well, that's different, and that sort of thing.
Well, radish comes up first in the garden, isn't that? After
That's
30
right.
days usually, sometimes. 30
Yes,
days? Right.
28 days for a French breakfast, and radish.
And they're proud of themselves for growing stuff.
Oh, my
Because
God.
it's fun. It's fun to grow stuff.
Well, and it's a surprise. It's a total shock.
Mm-hmm.
I love the time the high school student was pulling up onions. A high school teacher was pulling up onions with a student. And presently the student stops and he looks down and he looks at her and he says, "Are you trying to tell me this is where onions come from?"
Right.
I mean, I love it.
Right,
I
right,
love it.
right.
And this has been a little weird for me because I grew up on a truck garden in Kansas. I knew before I knew what an onion was, I knew where onions came from.
Right.
And but it's good. People need to know that your food comes out of the ground. Somebody says, "I'm not going to eat that. It's been in the dirt." Darling, where do you think they've all been?
Right.
It's like,
No, that's very true. And I think also that the youth, they grow stuff and they realize, oh, it's kind of nice. It gives them a better sense of it. It's one thing to give them intellectual guidance on food,
Right.
but to have them grow their own flowers and food, they realize, oh yeah, I just grew that. There's a certain pride of accomplishment, and they realize, I think also most important, the food, it just tastes good. They're just surprised it actually tastes good. And I
Yes.
think that's the big one for a lot of people. You say, this is organic. I say, okay, who cares? It's organic. You're elitist. Talk to me about organic. And you say, okay, forget the elitist business. Just try this. Does it taste better? And say, yeah, you're right. It tastes better. So, and then they kind of maybe a little more happy with you
yes.
because there is opposition to these ideas.
Yes, totally. And yet, having grown up in the Midwest, eating fresh food all the time, I remember coming to Los Angeles, biting into a sandwich and go, "What the hell is in this sandwich?" And finding out it was a tomato. It was what they called a tomato.
Right.
And I still, when I eat sandwiches out from any place, I don't care where it is, I pull the tomatoes off.
Right.
It's just if it's not grown fresh,
It doesn't taste good.
It doesn't taste good. It's like cardboard.
I agree with you.
Why bother?
David King, it's been a pleasure having you on. Here's to your health. Where can we contact the Seed Library of Los Angeles?
Surely. You can contact the Seed Library online at SLOLA, SLOLA.org. And I want to tell everybody that this Saturday is our meeting at 2:30.
What date is that?
That's going to be the 16th, 2:30, and it's located at the Learning Garden at Venice High School in Los Angeles.
You have something once a month, don't you?
Yes, we do. It's the third Saturday of every month at 2:30, and you will find information on the meetings always at SLOLA.org. We also are interested that you look at a website called seedfreedomla.org.
Seedfreedomla.org.
And that's an organization that's helping promoting the GMO-free zone for Los Angeles, and we think that that's a very important thing to do.
I agree with you.
Thank
I
you.
agree with you. Well, David King, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joshua.
Thank you. You are listening to Here's to Your Health on the LA Talk Live broadcast network. I'm your host, Joshua Lane. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back after these important messages.
The American Heart Association's Heart Walk is coming. Bring your family, bring your friends, bring your coworkers. Help yourself and those around you to live longer, healthier lives. Form a team today and walk to help the American Heart Association defeat heart disease and stroke, two of the nation's leading killers. For more information, visit heartwalk.org.
The 21st Annual World Congress on Anti-Aging is coming to the Venetian Hotel in Las Vegas, Nevada. Josh Lane and Dr. Hans Kugler of Here's to Your Health, in conjunction with the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine, invite you to attend the 21st Annual World Congress on Anti-Aging, December 13 through 15 at the beautiful Venetian Hotel in Las Vegas, Nevada. More than 3,500 healthcare practitioners are expected to convene for this medical education conference, where they will teach, lecture, and demonstrate. This year's conference highlights include anti-aging science, personalized aesthetic medicine and lifestyle workshops, brain health and stem cell science, and so much, much more. Register to attend or exhibit by visiting www.a4m.com. That's www.a4m.com. Or call the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine at toll-free 888-997-0112. That's toll-free 888-997-0112. Don't miss the 21st Annual World Congress on Anti-Aging, presented by the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine, proud sponsors of Here's to Your Health with Josh Lane and LA Talk Live, where it's more than just talk.
Hi, this is Dr. Lewis Logan, inviting you to join me every Friday from 11 a.m. to 12 noon for Faith on the Front Line. We don't just talk about it, we are about it. That's our motto. Don't just talk about it, be about it. We highlight the issues and challenges that we face today and how faith communities and leaders make a difference. So don't forget to tune in to Faith on the Front Line, exclusively here on LA Talk Live. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio and R&B, and watch us on Ustream TV. Reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Hi, this is Jean Noel Bassior, inviting you to join me for my new show, The Book Beat, Monday evenings at 6:30 p.m. I'll be talking to authors about their latest book so you can find a fantastic read. But more than that, I'll be talking to experts about how you can write your own book and get it published. So tune in on Mondays at 6:30 p.m. exclusively on latalklive.com. And remember, you can catch us on iTunes Radio R&B or watch us on Ustream TV. Reality radio, handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Joshua Lane, member of the board of directors of Dr. Ann Wigmore's Hippocrates Health Institute, Josh Lane was part of the Dr. Ann Wigmore team that brought wheatgrass, sprouts, and raw foods to a worldwide audience. And now the host of Here's to Your Health on LA Talk Live, Joshua Lane.
We're back. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of Here's to Your Health on the LA Talk Live broadcast network. I'm your host, Joshua Lane. My next guest, Suzanne Titus, has been a guest on Here's to Your Health before. Suzanne has the organization called Rescue, Recycle, and Reuse, and they recycle these coffee bags in a very intelligent and fashionable way. So I decided to invite Suzanne back. Suzanne, welcome to Here's to Your Health.
Thank you, Josh. Thanks for having me back.
My pleasure. And so the bags look very fantastic.
Great.
And you had one before with a girl on it that would look very lovely. And so again, these are just coffee bags. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Right. So I get coffee shipped in from Colombia in what, a 75-pound bag?
No, they average about 150 pounds.
150-pound bag.
Yes, and here's a full-size coffee sack here that we've turned into the trash cleanup bag.
Okay,
for
I'm
the
just going
environmental
to
groups.
unhook myself here and show the audience here. It's a very big bag. This is the size of the bag.
Right, and if Josh, if you unhook it up there and stand it up, you'll see the height of it. There you go.
Okay, very good. Just to show that and make my sound man crazy, Nestor. Okay, so we're back. Okay, so these big bags, 150-pound bags of coffee bags. Previous to this, they were thrown away. Is that it?
Yeah, I mean, they were recycled, put in the recycle bin, or some roasters donated them to zoos as they used them as feed containers.
As feed containers?
Yeah, for feed for the animals. They would roll them down, and then they would kind of
I see.
create like a bucket type of, and so they're not eating out of a plastic bucket. So, but for the majority of the bags that I have received, it seems as though these bags are just discarded. Since I started the project last year, kind of on a part-time basis, to date, we're just under 9,000 coffee sacks having been donated.
Good for you. Good for you. And also, if I keep saying this, they look nice. So isn't that nice? I mean, it kind of a little bit of a fashion statement. And what a smart move. It just seems like a great idea.
And I think when you say they look nice, each bag is unique in its own way, that there's no two bags alike.
Right.
Even though we may have a coffee sack that we may get, 1,000 that have the same writing on them, because of the manufacturing process, no two bags turn out to be alike. And when you talk about the fashionable statement that they make, it's really about where we're headed with trying to be environmentally conscious.
Right.
And addressing the plastic bag issue. These bags are made from a plant-based material called jute. So they're 100%.
Jute?
Yes.
What exactly is jute?
Jute is just it's a raw material. It's a plant, and when they harvest it, it's like long, thin strings. And so you'll see on the bags how they weave it together, and that's what creates the coffee sack.
And jute has a long history of use.
Yes. Jute is very similar to hemp. And so jute, on our tags, it basically tells you a little bit about it, and that it's made out of jute, which is entirely environmentally friendly.
Excuse me, and jute grows where?
Jute grows internationally, Costa Rica, other international countries, not here in the nation. It needs very, very humid climate. So,
so Central America, Mesoamerica.
Yes. And what we've described.
And what do they use it there before they made coffee bags out of it?
Some places will make bags out of it, but the primary use for it is the coffee sacks. I mean, as a world, the amount of coffee that is consumed is enormous, and there are bags.
People like coffee.
Yes, and I recently was contacted from a man internationally who said that he has over 100,000 bags. He said, and when you are ready, they are mine. So it's kind of exciting to see the project get the word out there on what we're doing. We hope to get people involved, and for the right reasons. A lot of people are focusing on the bag and saying, oh my gosh, it's so cool, it's fashionable. But the real purpose is to raise the awareness for the two issues that, everyone faces everywhere, and that's Alzheimer's and our environment.
Right. Those are two important issues. So I guess what you're trying to focus on now is get a photograph taken with Cameron Diaz carrying one of these bags. Is that it?
Would that be?
And then already
wouldn't that be nice?
You're set, I think, after that.
Yeah.
But actually, they do look real good. They look real good, and actually, aesthetics is important and
Yes.
design, and these look lovely.
Right.
And so I'm sure men and women are happy to buy them. And you can put school bags, you can put books in here, and groceries, etc.
You can put anything in these bags. And we've been very fortunate because we've been able to test the waters.
What do you mean?
Well, we worked with Urban Radish, which is an organic market that's
yes.
just opened up in downtown Los
Right.
Angeles. And they had come to us, and it was kind of spur of the moment, and said, "Hey, we want to get bags for our grand opening." So we pulled it together, and we took in 77 bags, and that was August 17th. And they just placed another order.
Good.
So we've kind of confirmed the 120 annually, because if they've gone through 77 bags in less than 3 months, that just indicates how these bags are being received.
Yes.
We've been, we're really excited because Irwan Market, which is
It's a fun market, Erwin.
yes,
Very much fun.
is in Los Angeles, and they're going to test out the bags for us. And then we also have a environmental group, which is the Clean Oceans Project in Santa Cruz.
Clean Oceans product.
Yeah,
Okay.
project.
Project.
Yeah, they're going to go with the trash bags.
I see.
And they're going to put them up on their website and sell those to the environmental groups that are out there doing the cleanup.
And as a trash bag, this is for what? For leaves? I mean, what am I,
I
going to
mean,
put in there?
you can use it for anything. I mean, the reason that it has the kind of shoulder strap is because originally the idea was that we wanted to get involved with the environmental beach cleanups, Surf Rider, Save
yeah.
Our Shores,
Right.
Heal
Right.
the Bay,
Right.
and so by creating this, it's got a shoulder strap so you can walk along the beach and fill it up. And we just did a beach cleanup last weekend on Sunday.
Where was this?
This was in Sunset Beach, and we did it with the Eagle Rock Girl Scouts. This is
Very nice.
Yeah, it's the second time that they've come down to do this. And we were able to collect just under 12 pounds of trash. And I think the exciting part about working with the Girl Scouts was to see their enthusiasm, to see their willingness to learn about the pieces of styrofoam and plastic and trash that they were picking up, and understanding how it affects our sea life and our environment. So the trash bag is great. Obviously not for little kids. We gave them littler bags. But even so, we didn't use plastic bags to pick up any trash or plastic buckets.
Right.
So we're hoping that we will get the support from some of the larger environmental groups. We had a gentleman he kind of did a test trial and took one of our trash bags to Costa Rica. And he just posted on our Facebook page that he's still using his bag. It's holding up great, and he loves it. So the nice thing about the trash bag was when we were done and I got rid of all the trash, I turned it inside out, I hosed it down, pulled it right side out, hosed it down again, hung it over the fence, and in a couple of hours, it was dried and ready to go for the next beach cleanup.
So these will last for a while then. They're kind of
Yes.
a good value. They'll last.
They will. In talking with different marketplaces, some of the managers and directors have said this is really strong material. This is really going to last, which is good to know. But I think what's even more important is that when you're done with the bag, it's going to biodegrade. It's going to turn into fibers, and it's going to float away. And as our tag says,
Right.
when you're done with the bag, we want you to use it in your garden, whether it's composting, mulch, or just as a ground cover on a potted plant, because it helps with the reduction of water usage. And then it also acts like a natural fertilizer. It's like a plant feeding a plant.
Right. And are they? So I have a garbage bag
Right.
theoretically.
Mm-hmm.
And this is kind of. Do I have a purse here? Is that a purse?
No, it's just a sack. I mean, you can use them as a purse. You can use them for anything. I carry one as a purse because they're cute and people love them, and people stop me and say, "Oh, where'd you get that bag?" But these bags have been, could be used as a grocery bag. The larger bag that's up on the top is the beach bag. People have used them for all different sorts of carrying.
And who was the designer who put these together?
Well, it was myself and our board member Earl Buck. When I originally came up with the idea, we went to his location because he does sales repair, boat sail
Oh.
repair.
You'd be perfect for this.
Right. So we kind of sat down and we played around, we sewed it. And then when we sat down with our manufacturer, we went through a couple of iterations to make sure that the right stitching was in place. And between myself, Earl Buck, our board member, and our manufacturer, we came up with this
Well, Earl Buck, what's the name of his sale corporation? Let's give him a plug.
zigzag sail repair
Zigzag Sail Repair here
in
Santa Monica.
Nope, Seal Beach,
Seal Beach.
California.
And he decided that with his expertise, manufacturing, that seems like a lovely profession, doesn't it? Being a sail manufacturer seems like
Right.
a real nice thing to do. So what kind of thread or stitching do you have in this? Is this kind of, it's not a nylon stitching, is it?
No.
What
We
is it?
want the bag to be as environmentally friendly as possible.
Right, so it's cotton stitching?
Yeah, and that was an important part of keeping the bag without a zipper. We've had people say, "Oh, you could put a zipper on this. You could put a leather strap that folds over." And I really want to stay away from using anything that's not environmentally friendly. I mean,
Okay.
that may change as time goes on, but for right now, I'm kind of sticking to that.
Alrighty. And so it has cotton thread and it's made of jute,
Right.
and that's the two ingredients.
Right. And then the bag tag is also an organic cotton.
Okay, it says, I see that. Yeah.
So everything about the bag is really, it just makes you think. You know, I got a call from Urban Radish, and they had somebody come in and buy 5 bags, and she was just so excited about the bags and just loved what they stood for. And I think it's really important. I mean, the plastic single bag is an issue. However, what I'm seeing come into the marketplace now is the more durable, reusable plastic. And when
Is that better?
You know, I mean, from my perspective, I would like to say that it's not better, only because we're now creating a thicker plastic because it's reusable. So considering how long it takes for a single-use plastic bag to biodegrade, even if it gets to that complete point, this reusable plastic that's thicker and heavier, I'm afraid that it's going to take even longer for it to biodegrade. With these bags, you know, it's kind of a no-brainer. I mean, the gentleman that was on before,
Dave King, yeah.
Yeah, you know, I wanted to communicate with him because the last time I was here, we were talking about using the entire sack.
Right.
Because once we make the bags, there's scraps left over. So it was important for me to figure out a way to use the entire bag itself.
you.
So we're working with Farm Lot 59, which is in Long Beach, California.
Farm Lot 59?
Yes.
What exactly is that?
Farm Lot 59 is a local farm lot that is managed and produces fruits and vegetables, and they have chickens where they have range-free eggs.
Oh, really?
So we just did a drop of scraps probably about 3 weeks ago. And
You drop your scraps off for them and they put them in the soil.
yes, well, she's. We're actually getting together to talk about what she's going to do with the scraps, because Food Day organization, which is part of the Center for Science out of Washington D.C., they have contacted us and are interested in us kind of writing a blog for them about the benefits of the jute and what it provides to the food. And, you know, the resources that it will bring to growing.
What's the name of this
fruits and
organization
vegetables.
again?
It's called Food Day.
And what's the organization?
It's well, that's the organization.
Food
It's
Day,
foodday.org. You can find them on Facebook and Twitter and, you know, out there on the internet. But they're part of the Center for Science, which is out of Washington, D.C. So
Center for Science and Public Interest?
yes.
Okay.
So we're really excited to kind of be talking with them about writing that blog, because it is important for us to use those scraps. And once we get the bags moving and we're doing quite a bit in production, we want to share those scraps with different, you know, farm lots that are popping up. Even if people who are growing their own, you know, garden in their front lawn, like Dave said, you know, we would be open to giving those scraps to those people.
Yeah, that seems like being part of a movement to waste less. I mean, where's the virtue in wasting stuff?
It's very much a movement. And, you know, I had somebody say, "Oh, somebody tried doing these bags about 10 years ago, but people didn't like them because they shed, or they were kind of an itchy fabric." But
Oh, are they itchy, by the way?
this one over here,
Yeah.
the one with the orange on it, it's a newer bag. It hasn't been washed yet. And once you wash it, like this bag up on the top on the left,
Right.
it tends to make it softer. Now, one of the things
These are not like wool, right? They don't.
no,
okay, right.
not like
Some
that.
people are
not like
sensitive to
that.
wool.
Right. And I think one of the things that helps with the shedding is oil. So you can use an avocado oil, coconut oil, baby oil, rub it on your hands, and then just rub the bag down.
No kidding.
And it kind of it helps with eliminating the shedding.
Oh, shedding's a problem?
I wouldn't say it's a problem. I mean, you're not going to carry this bag going out in a black tuxedo and a black evening gown.
Right.
So,
Right.
so
Unless you want to make a statement.
True.
Maybe Ed Begley and his wife,
That-
they might want one, right?
You know what? That's true. But for the most part, it's minimal. And I think people that are conscious about the environment and wanting to do better don't even think twice about it.
Right. Once again, they look good. I mean, they look good. I mean, they look smart, and I think that has to be part of it. People love good design, and people will pay for good design too. As if that's a big secret. People will pay for good design, and these have a smart design. People will probably be very happy to use them. And what do they sell for?
Well, the small bag sells for $14.99.
That's reasonable. Is this a small one?
I don't know. That's a little bit bigger than a small one.
All
The
right.
small one's a little bit small. I didn't bring a small one. The small one is $14.99.
Yeah.
The large bag is $19.99, and then the beach bag size comes in at $24.99. And some people prefer, I mean, it really depends. Some people like the small bag because you can get a lot into it, and it kind of gives a little bit. The larger bag, it's kind of preference. A lot of men have bought these bags, surprisingly enough, and they've gone for the bigger beach bag size.
So you're
they can
giving
carry
Lands'
more.
End a run for their money. Is that it? They're gonna have to worry now. Like, oh my goodness.
No, actually, I'd like to have Land's End jump on board with the cause and bring the bags in and resell them for us and drive that awareness for the causes that we're supporting.
Well, based on what you're saying, there are so many coffee bags around that maybe they could actually get into it.
Anybody could, but we really hope that people are going to say, no, we don't want to go around and throw coffee sacks and drive from location to location and then have to store them.
Right.
I have.
There's a commitment of time there. Is that what you're saying?
There absolutely is.
Right.
I've spent a lot of my time going from coffee roaster to coffee roaster and picking these
Here in
bags
Los
up.
Angeles.
Here in Los
Yes.
Angeles.
And
yes.
at first, how did they greet you?
Well, when I first started calling out to kind of test the waters, I was very excited to hear coffee roasters locally and in other parts of the nation excited. They're like, oh my God, that's such a great idea. Where can we send the bags?
Right.
For the most part, I think people are kind of curious as to what we're doing with the bags, but most coffee roasters and coffee companies, their focus is on the coffee.
Right.
And
Seems
so,
fair.
yeah. And so when you have big corporations, I mean, there's thousands of these coffees. I mean, hundreds of thousands of these coffee sacks. Some places, will keep them, and then all of a sudden they might sell them for $1 or $2 a piece to the general public. Maybe somebody wants to use one in a different way. But for the most part, they just kind of pile up. La Mille Coffee Roasters, which is
La Mille?
in Alhambra, they have been a consistent donator of the coffee sacks. I go out every other week, and I come back with anywhere from probably about 200 to 300 coffee sacks.
And that can fit in the back of a station wagon, right?
That fits in my car, yes, in the trunk.
And you have a little smart car. Is that what you have?
Yeah,
No.
right. And we just had the Coffee Bean join us.
Oh, good.
Which was really exciting because I had talked to them originally when I started the project. And of course, I think, like many people, they're kind of waiting to see what happens. And then I got a call from them a couple of months ago. So on my first run, I went up and I picked up the bags. And then I got a call and they said, you're in Long Beach. our truck goes down there. Why don't we drop off some coffee sacks?
Well, that was very nice of them to do that.
So I
very
thought,
nice.
oh my God, that's terrific. Well, it was great because it was 4 pallets and almost 1,600 coffee sacks later.
Aha.
Yes, and remember, I count every coffee sack. So we keep a running total of the coffee sacks that are donated, whether it's a corner coffee shop that maybe only goes through 10 bags a year, or it's a big production like the Coffee Bean that goes through thousands of bags a year.
Wow. And so, for example, this one over here with the a little orange coloring looks quite nice.
Uh-huh.
That can be done with, that's like half a coffee sack? Is that, I'm just guessing?
Yeah, that's about a half a coffee sack, and it's really unique. If you look at that picture, it's the top of a steeple of a church.
Yeah.
And so it's, you know, people see the different designs, and then the one on the very top, which is kind of like a blank canvas. I had a little girl, I shouldn't say little, she was 13, and she was like, oh my God, I love that it's blank. I can put things on it. She's like, she likes to paint. So she could actually paint something on that like it's a canvas. So, you know, the bags are really unique in the sense that, you know, you get the bag, you can do whatever you want with it.
And so now I see 4 bags here. So do these bags actually have different kind of names? I mean, are these styles of bags? I don't know the styles of bags. But is there a name for them? Is there a standard name for each one of these bags?
Right now, it's the small, the large, and the beach bag.
I see, okay.
And that's it. So there's no real...
This one on top is the beach bag.
Yeah, that one. And the one with the orange is the beach bag size. And then the one here on the left is a large size.
Do you actually do the sewing on these? You do these?
No, I don't. We
Who
work
does?
with our manufacturer, Superior T-shirts, which is out of Pacoima.
Here in
And-
California?
Yes,
Yeah.
here in California. And as the project grows, we won't be doing any manufacturing outside of the United States.
Good for you.
So originally, when I started the project, I was calling nationwide to coffee roasters, and the response, as I said previously, was great. And when I started thinking about the logistics of receiving bags from different parts of the country, manufacturing them here, and then sending them back to those parts of...
Didn't want to do that.
It didn't make
Right,
sense.
right.
So our plan and our goal is California, Los Angeles is our first chapter. And as we grow, we anticipate having a chapter in every state across the nation.
Good for you.
So what will happen is that chapter will receive the coffee sacks, they will manufacture the coffee sacks, and they will distribute the coffee sacks within their region. Ultimately, they will be working with environmental groups in their region as well as Alzheimer's groups as well within that region.
Well, Suzanne Titus, this sounds like a very good idea. How can we contact you?
You can reach us on Facebook. That's one way. We're on Facebook,
Okay,
Twitter.
give us the name.
I'm sorry, Rescue, Recycle, Reuse.
Rescue, Recycle, Reuse. Yeah.
Right. Or you can find us on our website, which is www.rescuerecyclereuse.org.
Well, Suzanne Titus, thank you very much. It's been fun.
Yeah, thanks for having me back, Josh. It
It's
was
been fun.
great.
It's
I
been fun.
appreciate it. Thank you very much.
You've been listening to Here's to Your Health on the LA Talk Live broadcast network. I'm your host, Josh Lane. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back after these important messages.
The 21st Annual World Congress on Anti-Aging is coming to the Venetian Hotel in Las Vegas, Nevada. Josh Lane and Dr. Hans Kugler of Here's to Your Health, in conjunction with the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine, invite you to attend the 21st Annual World Congress on Anti-Aging, December 13 through 15 at the beautiful Venetian Hotel in Las Vegas, Nevada. More than 3,500 healthcare practitioners are expected to convene for this medical education conference where they will teach, lecture, and demonstrate. This year's conference highlights include anti-aging science, personalized aesthetic medicine and lifestyle workshops, brain health and stem cell science, and so much, much more. Register to attend or exhibit by visiting www.a4m.com. That's www.a4m.com. Or call the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine at toll-free 888-997-0112. That's toll-free 888-997-0112. Don't miss the 21st Annual World Congress on Anti-Aging, presented by the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine, proud sponsors of Here's to Your Health with Josh Lane and LA Talk Live, where it's more than just talk.
Journey Sisters is an organization that embodies and captivates women from all walks of life. Our membership includes 44 women that are constantly growing in the areas of personal development and community involvement. Monthly, we offer free leadership classes at McKay's Restaurant. Journey aims to inform women in the areas of heart disease and HIV and AIDS. Experience the journey now by logging into www.journeymosaicinc.com. Toll free 888-906-5519. Journey with no excuses.
Hi, this is Elena, inviting you to join me every Wednesday at noon for Elena's Beauty Talk and more, exclusively on LA Talk Live. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio, R&B, or watch us on Ustream.tv. Reality radio, handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Hi, this is Dawn Christie, inviting you to join me every Friday, 1 p.m. Pacific, for my all-new show, The Dawn Christie Show. Join me as I discuss love, spiritual readings, your purpose, why am I born, what am I here to do. So don't forget to tune in The Dawn Christie Show at 1 p.m. Pacific, exclusively on LA Talk Live. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio R&B or watch us on Ustream TV, reality radio, handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Brooksy, maker of fine laptop apparel, laptop covers and sleeves, iPhone covers, and unique home decor. Brooksy laptop sleeves are made to order and can be custom made to fit your computer. Just send a message with your order telling us the model and the dimensions of your laptop, and we'll make you your very own sleeve in whichever design you choose. Any of the pillow designs can be turned into laptop sleeves too. Remember, Brooksy for all your computer embellishment needs. You can find Brooksy at www.brooksy.com. That's BROKESY.com. And remember to tell them that you heard it here on LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
Joshua Lane, member of the board of directors of Dr. Ann Wigmore's Hippocrates Health Institute. Josh Lane was part of the Dr. Ann Wigmore team that brought wheatgrass, sprouts, and raw foods to a worldwide audience. And now the host of Here's to Your Health on LA Talk Live, Joshua Lane.
back. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of Here's to Your Health on the LA Talk Live broadcast network. My next guest produces healthy eggs on her farm. Kaliko? Kaliko. And what is the name of your farm?
Jokika Farms.
Jokika. And does Jokika mean anything?
It is the first two letters of my partner's name. So there's Johnny, Keith, and myself.
Okay, that's very good. Now, actually, I've eaten your eggs. I think my wife and I bought them at Lassen's, and they're very good.
I think you're at PC Greens.
At PC Greens, yeah. And they're very good. And Nestor, the sound person, is photographing right now your chickens. We have chickens. We have live chickens in studio here. I feel like Mr. Green Jeans, which is a good thing, actually. And you have some lovely chickens, and the chickens actually seem very nicely behaved. And the chickens look healthy and they look good. So are these eggs from those chickens?
These eggs will be from these chickens over here. We have about 10 different varieties, 10 different breeds on our farm. And the 3 smaller ones in the front here are Americanas, and they lay the green and blue colored eggs.
Oh, the blue eggs. Yes, the blue eggs were lovely. What kind of chickens are those again?
They're called Americanas.
Americanas, yes.
And the one in the back that's kind of lording it over everybody is a Cuckoo Moran, a French Cuckoo Moran, and they're kind of rare here in the United States. They will lay
They sure look nice.
They will lay very dark colored, Hershey Kiss colored eggs. And so when they're older, these are the types of birds that produce on our farm. So they get to run around and be free. These ladies over here actually are my pets. So they are white. The white silky is Daisy. The black one is Maisie.
Yes, I see the white silky. Yes,
And then the one puffing up, that's Aggie. And she's a French Cochin.
Now, how far did you have to travel to get to the studio here at LA Talk Live?
About 45 minutes.
So the chickens just traveled 45 minutes, and of course they're chickens. They seem to be in a very good mood.
We had a long discussion before I came here today.
Well, you must be a good mom because the chickens seem really in a good mood, and they don't seem, they don't seem agitated. They seem kind of happy. They seem happy, and they certainly do look healthy.
Good. We try.
And what's the secret now? Why do your eggs taste so good? And I don't want to cast aspersions about some of the supermarket eggs that really don't taste quite so good. Why do your eggs taste so good?
Well, first, we care a great deal about our chickens. And where we are located, we have about 40 acres.
Where are you, by the way?
Our farm is up in Bradley, California, which is about half an hour north of Paso Robles. So our chickens get to run around and just hang out, and that's really important to us. We have a belief that if you treat your animals well, whether they're chickens or cows or pigs, that if you are respectful to them and if you care about them, and they are happy, then they're going to produce happy food for you, and whether it's eggs or whatever it is that they're producing. And between that, and we feed them a GMO-free feed that doesn't have any corn or soy in it, and that helps. And our eggs, you're talking about supermarket eggs. Most supermarket eggs are produced in a different environment. A lot of them are still in cages, or they're in very large warehouses. They have some access to pasture, but you have to be really careful about how you're defining that, because I don't know, a bunch of your viewers, I know I have gone into the grocery store and you look at the eggs and some will say cage-free and some say organic, and as you said, not to, say anything negative about the other way that they are produced. You can have an organic egg. That only means that the bird is being fed organically. It does not mean that the bird has access to just run around and be a bird.
Right.
They can still be in these large warehouses fed organic feed.
Right.
The same thing with cage-free. How do you define cage-free?
How do you define that, by the way?
It just depends.
See, there's no legal definition there, right?
There isn't.
Right.
And so a lot of places will have a huge warehouse, which they call a barn, and they could have 50,000, 100,000 birds in this facility, and they'll have 1 or 2 doors, maybe 4 little doors at the end, and a little area that's enclosed where they can go out on cement, and that is considered to be a cage-free egg.
No kidding.
No.
Oh, it doesn't sound good.
No, it's not. So
for the people who don't realize this, commercial egg, you might have a large airplane-like hangar or something.
Exactly.
And there are 50,000, maybe up to 100,000 birds in this facility with just a couple of doors.
Mm-hmm.
So that doesn't sound good.
No.
No. Doesn't sound like the chickens could be healthy. It sounds like there would be a lot of problem with disease.
Well, I am not an expert, so I can't really speak
Well,
to
you
that.
grow your own chicken, so
We do it differently, and to be fair, because of the way that our economy is, because of what's happening in our world today, we produce eggs for a niche market. We produce expensive eggs because it's expensive to raise them this way.
Right.
There are other people out there who can't afford to buy these kinds of eggs, and they have a right to eat. So there have to be producers who are able to produce an egg that is still healthy for you at a low cost. And that's when you get into these warehouse type situations. It's not something that we want to do.
Could I ask you a question then?
Yes.
So your healthy chickens, you have 40 acres. They don't just roam, do they?
No. So I think we're using maybe about 2 acres right now. And so we have different pens that are set up. I've got some photographs right over here.
Yes.
So that's our farm, Jokika Farms.
Okay.
And so we have areas that are enclosed with just some fencing, and in some areas we also have electric fencing, and it's to keep the predators out, not to keep the birds fly over it all the time. And within each enclosure,
like dogs and coyotes,
raccoons,
will
weasels.
eat your chickens.
Yes. The only thing that we haven't been able to mitigate right now are the red-tailed hawks who fly higher than we can.
They come right down and they steal chicken?
Oh, yeah. They just swoop right down and they pick those things up, and they're very arrogant. They'll
So
go
what's
to
the
the other
defense
side.
against them?
Prey. You know, you hope that you're out there when it happens. And we won't. I think we've, in the 8 or 9 months that we've been a real farm, I think we've only lost 2. I think we've lost 1 to an owl. So they're just, you do the best that you can. Chickens
But it's
are
upsetting.
very smart. It's very upsetting. I mean, it's not good.
Right.
So there is shelter there, and chickens are very smart, contrary to popular belief. So the chickens
Yeah,
will
they're smart. Yeah.
very, and they will, when they see a hawk, they'll run for shelter. So we make sure that there's plenty of shelter available for them to get out of the way.
Now, a few minutes ago, you mentioned that there's a place in the marketplace for an inexpensive egg, and I certainly agree with that. But the thing I like about your eggs, and the reason I invited to be on the show, is when I cooked up your eggs, I thought, these are fun to eat. These taste like real food. These taste good. I eat food because I like food. I want the food to taste good. And I don't want to overspend. I'm not a big spender. But I think these eggs are fun to eat. I think they probably have more food value, and they certainly have a better taste. I noticed that the shells are harder to crack. I noticed that the yolks, in my opinion, have a better color. That's what I notice when I spend the extra $1 or $2 and I get better eggs. So, again, I'm not a waster of money, but I think this is a better choice for me.
Well, then we're doing our job right.
Right.
And when you take a pastured egg, a truly pastured egg, that's where your chickens have been out and getting bugs and digging for things, and they get green grass, and then you're supplementing them with the feed the way that we are. You should absolutely be able to tell the difference between our eggs, to be fair, another organization that produces them the way we do, and a caged egg. And the first telltale sign is going to be that the yolk should be a richer color.
It definitely is, yeah.
And it should taste like an egg is supposed to taste.
Right.
We love our eggs. We're very excited about what we're able to produce and the way that we're able to produce them, and are just feeling very blessed that we are having so much customer input on them. We, knock on wood, so far we haven't had anything negative said about any of our products. So we're very happy.
And how many chickens do you have?
We have about 2,500 on our place right now.
Which is seems like a lot of chickens. And of course, I'm assuming that's like 7 days a week. You got to keep an eye on the chickens.
Well, thankfully, my partners keep the eye on the chickens. But yes, it is a full-time job. They're up at about, because they're also cattle ranchers, so they're up at about 5 o'clock in the morning, and they go and they open up the shelters for the chickens, and then the chickens are allowed to roam free all day. And then
amongst the cattle.
No, cattle someplace else. So we're strictly just poultry, but they go away. The cowboys go away to another ranch, and they spend their day there. So in the morning, they're letting the chickens out, and then when they come home at the end of the day, they put the chickens away. The chickens will actually take themselves to bed, and we just go down and we close the doors. But, not to make light of the amount of work that there is, they're out there collecting eggs 3 times a day. We rinse them, make sure that they're safe before we have Rosemary Farms, which is a wonderful distribution facility. They process our eggs and package them for us, and then they make the deliveries for us.
Do chickens lay? Does one particular chicken lay her eggs in the same spot every day?
Do they have little nesting boxes, and
Nesting
honestly,
boxes in their homes.
that are inside of the
Yeah.
shelters, and so they will go. They're very demure. Chickens do not like to just lay their eggs anywhere. They will like to go into a relatively dark area that's got 3 sides on it with lots of nest material, and then they'll very quietly, sit there, and then they'll lay their egg. I do know some people who even make little curtains for the little nesting boxes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we don't do that.
And chickens, now your chickens are healthy chickens. So will healthy chickens, let's say I want to go into business and I want to grow my own chickens and have my own eggs. So does healthier chickens give me more eggs over the course of the year?
Well, certainly unhealthy chickens will not give you more eggs. The average chicken will lay between 240 to 280 eggs a year. You also have
The average healthy chicken.
The average healthy chicken. Now, you do have production chickens like the Easter Browns or the White Shavers that will lay in excess of 300 eggs a year.
Really?
So as long as you are paying attention to them, you listen to them. I mean, they're like babies. They all have their different little sounds that they make, and you can absolutely tell when a chicken is in distress. So if you're paying attention to them, if you treat them well, if you're making sure they have fresh food, fresh water all the time, they will take care of you. They will gift you every single day, well, about every single day with an egg. Chickens lay eggs between every 24 to 26 hours. They will produce an egg, but they do take a day off during the week.
And again, you mentioned earlier in the conversation that you have decided that your chickens get no soy.
We don't
and no corn.
Right, and that's how we ask our feed mill to produce our feed. It's a little bit different than many of the organic companies that still continue to have soy and feed in their eggs, and we found that there are a lot of people who are allergic to soy now. And
There seem to be, yeah.
And so we were able to. Well, we weren't, but we asked our feed mill to come up with a formula that would be GMO-free, no corn, no soy, and not hurt the bird, that would continue to be, as nutritious as possible for the bird, and give us an egg that was going to be lovely. And, knock on wood, we believe that we have that.
Yeah, these eggs are great. These eggs are great. And if I decide to eat eggs, what's the food value in an egg? When I eat an egg, what do I get?
You get, unfortunately, some cholesterol, and
Well, actually, eggs contain cholesterol.
They do.
But they don't raise our cholesterol. They're not a risk factor for high cholesterol.
Well, it depends on who you talk to. I mean, there are different studies out there. What I do know is that Mother Earth News did several studies, and one that they published, I think it was either 2003 or 2007. They went to 14 different farms that raised pastured eggs, and they sent them away to some lab and had them analyzed. And it came back time after time that if you buy a pastured egg as opposed to a caged or traditionally raised egg, it has a third less cholesterol in it. And so, and then our eggs have more vitamins, they have more nutrients. I mean, they're hands down, whether it's our egg that you buy or somebody else who produces
any good quality egg is just better, right?
It is so much better for you than the other eggs that are out there, which is really unfortunate. I mean, it's unfortunate that that the way that our society is now, that we are out there producing these kind of eggs, and that it costs what it does for us to produce them, so that we can give people a healthier choice.
No, I think it's a much better choice. And you got 2,500 chickens, and if you don't feed them soy or corn, and why don't you just give them soy or corn? People are sensitive to soy and corn.
If people are sensitive, we don't think that it's, we're out there saying that you shouldn't, the GMO foods are not healthy for you.
Right, I agree with you.
So why are we feeding it to our food?
Right.
To animals that are going to, then we're either going to eat them or we're going to eat a product of theirs. We're still getting it. So why not just stop it at the base level and not give it to our animals?
Well, let me say this. I haven't really hung out in a room with chickens for a long time. It's been a long time. I used to be involved with 4-H clubs when I was a kid, but it's been a long time. But these chickens, again, they just drove a long distance. These chickens seem very happy. They seem very healthy. They got great, feathers. Obviously, a big sign there. So, what are you feeding them?
They're being fed chick starter. That's GMO, no corn, no soy. And
so, what's in chick starter? I don't really know. Tell me.
Oh, chick starter. Gosh, I have the whole feed tag if you want to see it. But there's wonderful, wonderful minerals. There's vitamins. We have replaced this is interesting. We've replaced the soy and the corn with wheat and peanut meal.
Oh.
And we have done they have done significant studies to show that the peanut meal does not translate into the egg. So people who have peanut allergies do not have to worry that they're going to be allergic to our eggs.
Alrighty. And how much water do the chicks get?
It seems like we're filling their waters every day. I think that they can drink up to like half a gallon of water a day. They drink all the time, and they eat all the time. Whoever coined the phrase, eats like a chicken, did not have chickens.
And what about they eat worms from the soil and stuff? Is your soil real rich? You got a lot of earthworms running around?
We have earthworms. We've got all kinds of bugs. I mean, up in Bradley, just because of where we are, it gets kind of hot during the summer. I think it was 115 or 118 this summer during
really?
the shade for a couple of days. So that is an ongoing challenge for us.
Right.
When there isn't stuff available for them, and we do pay attention to it, we will supplement them with fresh alfalfa. We'll bring mealworms into them. We'll supplement them with whatever it is that they need to make sure that our number one priority, next to safety of what we're giving to our customers, is making sure that our birds are well taken care of.
Well, that seems important. And so these birds, which are well cared for, so what is the working lifespan of a bird, and then what happens to them?
So your birds, or our birds, will lay prolifically until they're about 2 years old, and then it starts to taper off.
Right.
And so they will continue to lay, but at a certain point, they're no longer even covering the feed that it takes. And we have not gotten to a point yet where we've really had to do anything with it. But the truth is that unless there is somebody out there who wants to take 3,000 of our birds when they're no longer laying, we will have to have them very humanely processed. And what we would like to do...
Should make them into people that then eat chicken.
Yes. So, but
that seems fair.
What we would
not
like
to the chickens.
Not for the chickens.
To me, it seems fair,
Yes.
but not to the chickens so much.
So what we would like to do is have every single moment of the chicken's life mean something, even when it has to be put down. And so we're hoping that when the time comes, we will find a chicken processor who will be willing to donate their time to us, and we will donate the chickens to them. And then once the chickens have been processed and packaged, we would like to donate them to something like a food bank, so that the chicken can then go on to help a family that maybe can't afford to buy
Well, that's
chicken.
a nice gesture. But what about, wouldn't the natural food stores want them for better chickens? Aren't they considered kind of better chickens?
It's really interesting because there is a movement to bring heritage birds back, which these are heritage birds.
Heritage meaning what?
Heritage meaning that they were here a long time ago.
Right.
And they used to be dual-purpose birds. They used to be birds that people ate all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But as we got more and more into doing things with chickens that would give them bigger breasts, that would make them,
grow
fatter
faster,
and
yeah.
more tasty. I mean, you have your Cornish cross chickens. We started to ignore these birds, and they're starting to go extinct. I mean, there are some that are on the endangered list now. The unfortunate thing is that technology has made the genetically modified birds so yummy and look so pretty that it's really hard to get the public to go and buy a heritage bird. A heritage carcass is long and skinny and really doesn't have very much breast meat on it. It's mostly
But it might have a
dark
better
meat.
taste. I see a little chicken feather floating by here. Yeah.
It has...
Well, I do think that there is really a major movement involved now that Americans are eating better.
Yes.
Americans are eating way better. It can't be dismissed as being faddish. It's just really a mass movement now, as it should be. It's pretty much mainstream, which is a good thing, not a bad thing, quite frankly. So I bet there's a big a demand and a growing demand for these kind of better quality eggs and then chickens, quite frankly.
It's easier for people to decide to go to a better quality egg because it still tastes like
it
something
tastes
they're
better.
used
Oh
to.
my God,
it
then people
tastes
are like, oh my
better,
God, yeah.
but it's something that they're familiar with. Heritage birds tend to taste gamey, and
Oh, really?
They're gamey, and they're not as tender as your normal birds that you would find in the supermarket. And I think until you're able to really educate your consumer, and until they understand what it is that you're trying to do and they get used to the taste of it, it's going to be very difficult.
All righty.
It's definitely a challenge.
I do have a question. This is kind of a farming question.
Yes.
Now, theoretically, if you had some of the cattle in with the chickens,
Mm-hmm.
don't the chickens keep the cattle healthier by keeping disease down, by keeping bugs down?
You're talking about Joe Salatin's method, I think, who's a farmer in Swoop, Virginia. And
Yes.
He's kind of the granddaddy of doing this.
Yes, I've read about. I've never been to visit the farm, but I've read about it. Yes.
He is.
And
an
he's very
inspiration.
efficient, right? It's very efficient there. Yeah.
Very, very efficient, and has kind of been an inspiration for our farm, and where we kind of tried to model ourselves after him. And he wants to use a small footprint. So what he did was he set up.
And he's done so successfully.
But he will only deliver within four hours of where his farm is. So you can't order his meat or his pork or anything. He
Right.
won't send it to you. And what he does is he runs pigs, and then I think they're followed by the cattle, and then he has his layers and then his broilers. And he puts them in these little square areas that have enough feed in it to feed the animal for a day. And after they've eaten that, he moves them forward. So the pig goes forward, and now the cow is on the area where the pigs were, and the chickens are where the cows are. And it's this whole system where, now the chickens are scratching up the earth where the cows were, and they're putting all of their droppings into the earth and getting it together. And it's supposed to be a much healthier way of raising your animals, and it has less of an impact on the environment. And he's been amazingly successful with the way that he's doing it.
And his food tastes good, and he's making money, and he's not polluting.
And he has 4 generations of his family are
Right.
on the farm helping. And God bless him if my children want nothing to do with the chicken business at this point.
Well, chicken business is, it's 7 days a week. You got to keep an eye on the chickens. It's just really not a kind of a joke. It's not like you have a tractor, you put it in the garage, and you come back a day later, the tractor's still there. But chickens and farm animals, 7 days a week. And also predators will come get them.
It's true. I think what put them off at a point was when I decided to bring the baby chicks into my bedroom and put them on my dresser because
Aha! They were not quite that committed as you were.
No, they were getting cold, and I was concerned about it. So it was the ones that I had down here, and put them into a little bigger of a cage so that I could put a light over them and watch them. And they were done.
And when you say walking around where the chickens are, the chickens kind of follow you around?
Yeah.
The chickens they certainly know who you are.
Yeah.
They get to know you, and they follow you around.
Oh, absolutely.
Because they know that, they're secure, they're happy.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, and silkies, again, these are more showbirds. And I like to bring them just because it lets people know that there is this whole world of chickens with different sizes and shapes and colors, and sometimes sometimes they look like dinosaurs. And the silkies, do you want to hold one?
No, thanks.
Okay.
But thank you anyway. Thank you.
So the silkies have black skin and black bones, and they have 5 toes instead of 4. And I don't know if you can see, but they have little blue things on the side of their.
I hadn't noticed.
It's their ears, and they are probably the most docile chicken in the chicken world, and they make wonderful pets. I think there was I forget, Tori Spelling was taking a photograph downtown,
really?
and she was carrying one around as a pet. And they're amazing animals. And I forgot where I was going with that. Well, I lost the thought.
That's okay. It was fun anyway, just talking about the chickens. And where can we contact you, and where can we buy your fantastic eggs?
We have a Facebook page, which
Tell
is
us.
www.facebook.com/Jokeka Farms.
Spell Jokeka.
It's JOKEKAFARMS. And then we also have a blog, which is at jokekafarms.blogspot.com, I believe. But if you just Google
Do you have a phone number? You want to give out a phone number?
Sure. My cell number is 310-460-9951.
Let me have that once again.
310-460-9951.
And your farm is, you said, near Bradley?
It's up in Bradley, yes.
And you take little school tours. People come visit and look at your chickens?
We haven't as of yet, but hopefully in the spring we are planning on doing a little bit of agritourism. Part of our mission, other than
Agritourism, yes.
Yes.
That's a nice thing, yes.
So in addition to selling you the best egg, hopefully, that you will ever have in your life, we also feel very strongly about educating the consumer and letting them know where their egg is coming from. I go out to our stores. I mean, I've been at Lassen's and PC Greens and Air One, and take our chicks with us.
Those are all good stores.
We have phenomenal stores, but we set our little tub outside their stores and set up shop there, and then adults and their kids can come and they play with the chickens, and then we try to educate them on, the type of egg a chicken lays is not dependent on the color of their feathers. It's the breed, and explaining to them about why we feel that it's better for them to be pastured and the humane treatment of animals. I mean, there's this whole. I think people in the city get isolated from what is really going on with their food source, and you should ask. You should want to know where your food is coming from, who your farmer is, how they're treating their animals, and what you're putting into your mouth.
I completely agree with you. It's been fun having you on the show. I hope to have you back again very shortly.
Thank you very much.
It's been fun. You've been listening to Here's to Your Health on the LA Talk Live Broadcast Network. I'm your host, Josh Lane. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back after these important messages.
Hi, I'm Jerry Bell of the Daz Band in New Birth.
And I'm Brahima Arsalan.
Inviting you to join us every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Time for Jerry Bell's R&B Soul Classics, baby.
Join us as we play some of the greatest hits of soul and R&B and listen in to interesting discussions with the legends of the music.
So don't you forget, join us on the Jerry Bell's R&B Soul Classics. You'll love it. Exclusively on latalklive.com.
You can also catch us on iTunes Radio, R&B Live 365, Radio Flag, and now Stitcher Radio.
Or watch us and listen directly at latalklive.com, baby.
Reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure.
This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk, baby. We're music.
Hi, this is Angela DeJoseph. Join me Thursday evenings at 6 p.m. Pacific, The Angela DeJoseph Show. We're going to talk about health, wealth. We're going to share news, interviews, and entertainment. So don't forget to tune in to The Angela DeJoseph Show, Thursday evenings at 6 p.m. Pacific Time. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio, Radio Flag, TiVo Radio, and now live on Facebook. Watch and listen directly on latalklive.com. Reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Hi, this is Barbara Perkins, inviting you to join us every Sunday afternoon at 2:40 for Sisters at the Well Radio, a conversation with women about women. Join us as we share stories about current events, jazz events, business opportunities, health and wellness, entertainment, and so much more. So don't forget to tune in Sundays at 2:40, exclusively on latalklive.com. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio R&B, Live 365, Radio Flag, or watch and listen directly at latalklive.com. Reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
The 21st Annual World Congress on Anti-Aging is coming to the Venetian Hotel in Las Vegas, Nevada. Josh Lane and Dr. Hans Kugler of Here's to Your Health, in conjunction with the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine, invite you to attend the 21st Annual World Congress on Anti-Aging, December 13 through 15 at the beautiful Venetian Hotel in Las Vegas, Nevada. More than 3,500 healthcare practitioners are expected to convene for this medical education conference, where they will teach, lecture, and demonstrate. This year's conference highlights include anti-aging science, personalized aesthetic medicine and lifestyle workshops, brain health and stem cell science, and so much, much more. Register to attend or exhibit by visiting www.a4m.com. That's www.a4m.com. Or call the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine at toll-free 888-997-0112. That's toll-free 888-997-0112. Don't miss the 21st Annual World Congress on Anti-Aging, presented by the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine, proud sponsors of Here's to Your Health with Josh Lane and LA Talk Live, where it's more than just talk. Hey, this is Richard Carr, General Manager for LA Talk Live and host of the New Entrepreneurs Weekly Summit. I wanted to take a moment out to welcome one of my newest sponsors, and that is Sensational Soaps. Sensational Soaps are handmade with all natural ingredients, with absolutely no preservatives, no harsh chemicals, and of course, no animal testing. Your body will look and feel silky, smooth, moisturized, and completely revived. Do you suffer from dry, ashy skin? Then layer your skin with their luxurious blend of oils and shea butters specially formulated to revive dry, dull skin. Sensational Soaps also offers a full line of bath and body products, including luxurious bath salts and body scrubs, massage oils and lip balms, even romantic gift sets and custom gift baskets for your lover or significant other. For more information or to place an order, visit them at www.scentsationalsoaps.biz. That's www.scentsationalsoaps.biz. Sensational Soaps. Pamper yourself and indulge your senses. Sensationalsoaps.biz. Proud sponsors of LA Talk Live and the New Entrepreneurs Weekly Summit.
Joshua Lane, member of the board of directors of Dr. Ann Wigmore's Hippocrates Health Institute, Josh Lane was part of the Dr. Ann Wigmore team that brought wheatgrass, sprouts, and raw foods to a worldwide audience. And now the host of Here's to Your Health on LA Talk Live, Joshua Lane.
We're back. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of Here's to Your Health on the LA Talk Live broadcast network. I'm your host, Joshua Lane. Well, it's a tough act to follow, live chickens, but Katie Norris is here. And Katie has been working with nutrition for quite a long time, has a company called Energy Essentials, which is very popular here in California and the Southwest, and has a number of important products. And Katie has a important book on the value of calcium. Katie Norris, welcome to Here's to Your Health.
Thank you, Josh. It's great to be here. Thank you.
I enjoy having you here. I've had some influential people on wellness on my show, and you're certainly one of them. You've been doing this for a long time. Before the subject was popular, you were doing it, and now that it is popular, it's even better.
That's right.
and obviously, calcium is the most abundant mineral in the body. So, what can your book tell me?
The Truth About Calcium is a book that informs people that a lot of the things that they're doing is what they've been kind of brainwashed to believe, like to eat and to drink and to things like that and to do are actually beneficial for them, and they're really not. Uh-huh. And it's telling them the truth about what's going on, and it has absolutely groundbreaking research. We have, in this country, we ingest more calcium than almost any other country in the world, but yet we still have the highest rates of osteoporotic fractures. As a matter of fact, over half the population has bone loss, including from not just, we think it's just us aging women, but it's not true. More men will have hip fractures, which are the deadliest fractures, than even women in the next 20 years, which is really serious. And about 30% of them will die within the first couple of months of having them, and about 30% will become immobilized from it. So it's a very serious challenge.
And what are some of the things your book will tell me? I mean, what causes this really bad problem?
I think some of the biggest challenges that we have out there is that we are eating the wrong foods. We were brought up to believe, the people who have the highest rates of osteoporotic fractures are the ones who ingest the most dairy, which is
dairy meaning cow's milk products.
Yes, exactly. And so it's kind of, a lot of people believe, like, got milk, you were kind of led to believe that you probably would have unbelievably strong bones if you ingested that. And the truth is that it's really high in protein, but that protein actually leaches, and calcium, but that the protein in it in particular leaches out the calcium in the body. And so it's really been a real challenge for people because they really believe that. I could ask almost anybody out there right now, and most people believe that, if I've got milk, I got strong bones, and that's just not happening. And so we really need, I'm not saying giving up your cheese and your whatever. I'm saying that you shouldn't be your focus for building strong bones. There are so many better sources, and these are things that people have no idea. As a matter of fact, most people don't realize that the vegetables, the greens that are out there are so rich in calcium, but it's not just about calcium, Josh. We're talking, it's calcium, magnesium, vitamin D, boron, selenium, zinc, lysine, phosphorus, potassium, vitamin B3, vitamin C, all these different nutrients, over 20 different nutrients that we know absolutely have to mineralize the bones in order to have an amazing, strong system. Because think about it, it's the foundation for your very existence. If you don't have amazing mineralization of the bones, you are going to fall apart. As a matter of fact, when people say, I feel like I'm falling apart, I'm saying, oh, here, you need my calcium. You need to read this book. You need to understand what you're doing that is sabotaging your health and the strength of your body. You know what I'm saying? Because your heart depends on it. Your ability to process insulin depends on it. Your kidneys depend on it. Over 350 different metabolic processes depend on it.
Right. No, that's absolutely very important.
Yes.
And for people who had never heard before that drinking cow's milk is not really necessarily best for their teeth and bones, what can my listeners eat that would be a good idea for them to maintain their bone mass?
That's a great question, Josh. I think we have to start going back to our gardens. We have to go back and look at that beautiful, those collard greens and kale. A lot of people are really big into kale, which is really
Kale's
awesome.
Kind of popular now, isn't it?
It's such a
funny,
trendy
yeah.
veggie, but I think you need to start going to like collard greens and mustard greens, turnip greens. And I know people think, oh, I don't want that. But then there's, of course, asparagus, and there's sesame seeds, and there's so many different fantastic foods out there, pumpkin seeds, because once again, it's just not about calcium. And you're looking at sunflower seeds and all these amazing things that are probably maybe even in our refrigerator and we're not eating, And so what my book does, if you look at it, I mean, it's just got a plethora of amazing live foods. And I'm all about these live foods, these whole foods that are so crucial for our life, our very life. And most people eat out of a box, or they eat probably the majority of their food is dead food and has not
dead
the life.
Food means what exactly?
It does not have the life force that, in 1999, there was a Nobel Prize won, and it was regarding what they call cofactors. Cofactors are the only things that they're only found in live foods like plants and, vegetables, fruits, herbs, seeds, nuts, things like that. These are the things that have these cofactors. And what cofactors are the enzymes and the proteins that will take that food that's so rich, like that collard green, that's so rich in calcium, and take that, and it knows exactly where to go. It's going to take it down to that hip that is just literally just becoming so weakened and sparse in minerals, and it'll bring it down to that area, and it knows where to go. It's got what they call plant intelligence, and plant intelligence is just absolutely amazing because it's like when you take let's say you take a regular calcium pill that's out there. Most of them are coming from a rock, shell, stone, chalk, bone. And it's true. Right. Over here, if you look at this here and you see that beautiful shell, that conch shell, that's awesome. But let me tell you, that shell, how hard do you think that is to eat that? Even if it's broken down, into, and then those bones and the rocks and the shells and the chalk. You know, most of our calcium is coming from that. And so they make it into this fine powder because it costs pennies. And so when we ingest that and you mix it with water or any kind of liquid, what do you think's happening? You might as well be eating a bowl of cement in your body.
Doesn't sound good, no.
No, what we found is the research is showing that women are dying from, you know, our biggest challenge is the heart attacks. We're dying from massive heart attacks and strokes. And what's happening is that these studies found that there is a direct correlation in us taking these hard pills that are full of the rock, shells, stones, bones, and chalk, and ingesting them and dying from instant heart attacks and strokes. And that's really serious.
Yes,
I mean, it's unconscionable for a manufacturer to continue that if they truly know that. You know what I'm saying? I really feel that way.
No, for sure.
Yeah, right. And so I am all about real foods, you know, and down to the most minute detail, you know. I mean, because when we find, you know, that even the things that we use as binders and flow agents and things like that are actually we think it's just a small amount, but a small amount over time still can be detrimental. Right. And so, so exactly. So I'm really, you know, and especially like we've got a lot of radiation going on. We've got GMOs going on. We've got a lot of issues going on out there. And so we have to really watch what we're eating. And this is what I call a foundational food or supplement, you know, and it's like the foundation of our very being, truly, you know, and we can't do without it.
And how much calcium do men or women, adults, need to maintain bone mass?
Brilliant question. You know, we have been told that we need anywhere from maybe 1,200 to 1,500 milligrams. And once again, the truth is they showed that there are many studies that showed, but in particular, even the China studies showed that that these people, they only got about 300 to 500 milligrams of calcium, but it was from their real food, from the real food sources each day. And they had perhaps the best bones we've ever seen. As a matter of fact, they're like these amazingly mineralized bones, and the outside, you know, was strong. And that's not what we really worry about. You know, we worry about the mineralization, the osteoblasts and the osteoclasts, where we're creating new bone, releasing old bone and everything. And a lot of the pharmaceutical drugs out there are holding on to that old bone, and it's creating a very detrimental, brittle bone.
Right.
You know, and once again, very unconscionable when we know there are so many better ways to get strong bones and a healthy body, you know. And so I'm really an advocate for, you know, being able to have amazingly healthy bones in a very natural way.
No, that makes perfect sense. Katie, by the way, where can we buy your essentials?
Well, the Lassens is real. All of the Lassen stores carry it, and a lot of mom and pop shops around. You know, Follow Your Heart. So many Pacific Coast Greens in Malibu, all across, up and down, not only Southern California, but up and down the coast. I have such a great following in this. Especially on the coast here, it's fantastic.
And so the product it's completely dairy-free.
It is, absolutely. I don't do any dairy I'm vegan, vegetarian in all of my products, and
because you just feel it's better science.
I do. I'm all about the plants. I grew up. We had 11 kids in our family, and we couldn't afford food, so we had to grow our own food, you know, and we made it. So, and we made it, and it's great, you know. I mean, actually, I was a very sickly child. I had a rare genetic blood disorder, and so we were constantly searching for ways of saving my life for years and years and years. And it wasn't until I was pregnant with my second child, and they discovered that I had this rare genetic blood disorder, and both of my children had it. And they said he would die, but my son, Torrin, would die by the age of 2. And so,
oh my God, it's terrible.
It's really terrible. It really is. And I'd already written my will because I knew my heart was ready to go out. I was so sick. And the calcium that I was taking was literally building up in my vascular system, in my tissue, and nothing was moving in my system. And they said I would probably have a stroke or a heart attack, you know. And so I'd written my will, and I told my husband, I said, you got to take care of the kids because I'm not going to make it. But then when I looked at my son, and he would just whimper and hold his head, and he was suffering so much, I said, oh my gosh, who is going to save him, you know? And I said, I just made a determination. I was going to save him do whatever I could to save him because nobody knew what he was going through. And that's how I started realizing what a lot of the supplementation was happening, what was happening with the supplementation out there. And even today, when you look at what's really, really happening with our food system and things like that, with the GMOs and everything, we have been kind of, I don't want to say, I'm not a victim and nobody else is out there either, but we have been somewhat a victims in a sense of a terrible experiment that's gone wrong, with our food system. And so we really have to fight for our lives. And it's probably no different for a lot of the people out there in their own way having to fight for their lives if they're eating foods and they don't know that they're not right. helping them,
Right. And where can I get your new book on calcium?
You can go to energyessentials.com and amazon.com also.
And if people read this, they realize, oh my goodness, they learn a lot of new information and hopefully dramatically improve their health.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I just want to, I don't know, I'm sure you can't see this, but this is an amazing food and symptom chart. And we've had 2 people who said they believe that it saved their lives. I'm not making any claims, but this is an amazing thing because it tells you all the different nutrients, the calcium, magnesium, vitamin K, phosphorus, vitamin B3, all these different nutrients that are crucial to build healthy, strong bones.
Sure.
But then what it tells you is the deficiency symptoms of that particular, of not having enough magnesium. And in particular, magnesium and potassium right now, and you can have a heart attack and a stroke very easily.
Yes.
And what happens, it gives you sources of foods that you can go to right away, all these amazing apricots and apples and avocados, all these amazing foods.
Sure.
And when you start putting them into your diet, as well as taking the calcium and then we have a whole exercise chart, a 15-minute exercise chart that it's a whole body bone building program because it's not just about this supplement because I would never do that. It's like it's the foods, the choices you're making. It's the choices that you choose not to do also, and it's the exercise that you can do to build strong, healthy bones that builds that bone mineral density when you have the right ingredients especially, So this is an amazing, amazing chart. A lot of people will actually, they go in and they frame it and put it in their kitchen and it's just a wealth of information, as well as the book, and it's all in the book too. And it's got great recipes. I'm really big on my Cures in the Kitchen site. We have all these different natural antidotes and stuff, and so we have a lot of the recipes in there for building strong, healthy bones. So,
well, obviously, it seems important. Isn't calcium the most abundant mineral in the body?
It is, but everybody thinks it's just about calcium or maybe vitamin D or things like that.
Right.
But the truth is, it's calcium, like I said, calcium, magnesium, vitamin D, boron, selenium, zinc, lysine, but from real food sources,
right.
Not from a rock or a shell or stone or bone or chalk.
Right.
As a matter of fact, there's toddlers are breaking like pieces of chalk. If you've ever seen a piece of chalk that breaks and how sheer that is a really poor break that will not grow back together very well. Because it doesn't have the cellulose and all the good binding that makes up from all these vegetables and fruits and things like that will build up an amazing bone so that when you get hit, you're probably going to break it in a different way that heals much easier. And so their increase in the last couple of years of bone breaks are about 36%. Young girls are about 50% right now, and 39% for young boys. So these kids are falling apart, and this is their crucial years because a lot of them are eating fast foods. A lot of them, the parents are not monitoring the foods that they're eating, and this is it's not right by the parents. The parents have to take control again, and they have to go and research this and find what's going to be awesome for them. And they really need to go to their gardens, create a garden. They should be out there creating gardens with their family. I'm so into that, the biodynamic gardens and things like that are so important.
And actually, it turns out, food is a very important healing tool. A lot of people just don't know that.
They don't.
And they think what they're eating tastes good and it's fun, and they think this is a good choice. And unfortunately, sometimes it turns out to be a bad choice. All the fast food turns out to be I'm not saying it doesn't taste good, but I'm saying it is a bad choice.
It is. And the thing is, a lot of times when you get away from it and you start eating really good foods,
right, your tastes change.
It does. And you're like, this is the best food I've ever had, and that's true. And your whole life changes. You you wake up to your world, your consciousness changes.
You're right. Let me have your website again. Let me get in contact with you.
It's www.energyessentials.com. EnergyEssentials.com.
EnergyEssentials.com. That's
Yes.
the name of the supplement company that you have.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
And you have, besides calcium, you have other supplements as well.
Oh, yeah. We have a lot of different superfood powders. The Katie's Organic Greens, Katie's Whole Food Vitamin C. I mean, you'll see it in Laird Hamilton. He's one of the top big wave surfers.
Oh, Laird Hamilton, for sure.
Yeah, he's one of the top big wave surfers in the world. He's an icon to anybody who knows him. The courage he has to take these waves. Nobody can compare. Yeah. Anyways, well, he wrote a book called Force of Nature, and he put me in as must-take supplements. And literally, I'm all over the world now. Gabby Reese, the volleyball player, put me in Harper's Bazaar. Men's Health puts me in there all the time. I don't ever ask for it, but it really changes people's lives, these foods. And I wouldn't waste my time on anything else but doing what I'm doing. I love what I'm doing more than anything in the world.
Well, that sounds fantastic.
Yeah, thank you, Josh.
It's been fun having you on the show.
Thank you so much.
It's been fun.
Yeah.
You're listening to Here's to Your Health on the LA Talk Live Broadcast Network. I'm your host, Joshua Lane. Thank you for tuning in.
You are now tuned into LA Talk Live. We're more than just talk. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned.